Bwana Spika, na kuomba ruhusa tukimaliza maswali yote kwa sababu asili yako hapa, na mara mingi tumekuwa tukimhitaji na kujangi na tunajua nimechapa kazi, utaniruhusu dakika ya mwisho nimruhusu swali hilo la kutoka Embu.
No, endelea ikiwa pengine waziri ana ufahamu na hayo mambo atakujibu. Ikiwa hawezi kukujibu kwa sasa atakwambia. Endelea.
Bwana Spika, ni asanti. Najua Bwana Waziri kwa akili yake inakuanga timamu kabisa na ako na mambo ya serikali ya kwanza. Nimuulize swali. Swali langu Bwana Waziri, sisi Embu County, Tharaka Nithi na Meru County 3 tuko Mount Kenya East na tunateseka sana. Kutoka hapa kwenda Makutano ni kilomita 100 na tunaenda dakika 40, lakini kutoka Makutano kwenda Mwea, kwenda Embu na kwenda Tharaka Nithi na kwenda Meru tunaenda masaa 3. Tunakuomba, tunakuuliza kama kuna mambo umetupangia sisi watu wa Mount Kenya East, hiyo barabara ipanuliwe ndio hata sisi tuweze kusherekea matunda ya serikali ya Kenya Kwanza kwa hii kipindi ya miaka 5, kwa sababu miezi ambayo inakuja tunataka Embu County USA kwa sababu najua ndio ile Mount Kenya East tunategemea ikiwa Mount Kenya region. Asante Bwana Waziri, na unjue hiyo swali umeulizwa na Deputy Party Leader wa Democratic Party of Kenya.
Waziri, jibu tafadhali.
Asante sana Bwana Spika. Ningependa kusema kwamba ile swali ya Bwana Mundiki ni swali ya maana sana. Tuko na nia ya kupanua barabara zetu zote kutoka Mombasa mpaka Malaba, kutoka hapa Museum Hill mpaka Moyale, kutoka pia Makutano kama vile mheshimiwa amesema mpaka ifikie Meru, ipite Timau, ikutane na ile barabara ya kuelekea Isiolo, na pia barabara ya kutoka Isibania iende mpaka yetu na ndugu zetu kutoka Sudan Kusini. Mheshimiwa Spika, hilo swali ni ya maana, lakini nikirudi hivi punde nitarudi na mswada ya kuhusiana na mambo ya tolling ambayo ni lazima tuifanye kama taifa kama tutaweza kupanua barabara hizo. Kwa hivi sasa tunajadiliana na wanakandarasi ambao watatusaidia kujenga barabara ya Rironi mpaka Mau Summit, na tutakapomaliza haya tutapitisha kupitia bunge hii sheria ya tolling ili tuhakikishe kwamba barabara zetu kuu zinaweza kutupatia fedha ya kutosha kujenga na ijengwe na wafadhili ambao pia baadaye tutaweza kuchukua zile hela ambao zinatoka tolling kuendeleza mambo ya kujenga barabara zingine nyingi kwa sehemu zingine za Kenya. Asante sana Bwana Mundiki, na hiyo swali ni ya maana. Asante sana.
Honorable Senators, since the Honorable CS has 8 questions to respond, and I can see the trend we've taken in the first question, we may spend a lot of time just prosecuting the first question. If you agree with me, allow the CS to respond to the 8 questions, and then from there we can harvest supplementary questions. Good. So Senator Enoch, proceed to ask question number 15. After that, I'll allow the Senator for Nandi to ask the questions, and then we'll move to Senator for Kisumu, and then Senator for Meru, lastly Senator for Bungoma. Thereafter, we'll proceed to supplementary questions. Okay.
Hey. Thank you, the Speaker. My second question to CS Roads is, what is the current state of the Idhokwe airstrip in Kitui County, and are there any plans to upgrade it to commercial status? Question number 2, could the Cabinet Secretary provide an update on the construction progress of the Seikuru and Mutomo airstrips in Kitui County? And now that, Mr. Speaker, you have given guidance. Now that, Mr. Speaker, you have given guidance on supplementary questions, so I will not be asking my supplementary question. I will be leaving my friend, my colleague, Senator Manzo, to take up the answers for me. I have to exit the chamber briefly. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Sears.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Ithokwe Kitui airstrip is a Code 2C aerodrome capable of handling aircraft with passengers capacity of 37 and has a runway with a tarmac surface with dimensions of 930 meters long and 18 meters wide. It's located about 2 kilometers out of Kitui town. The pavement has deteriorated with potholes in sections of the runway and apron. There are also overgrown shrubs and bushes within the runway strip and some low spots on sections of the runway that are causing ponding whenever there is a downpour. The indicative rehabilitation works include extending the runway from 930 meters to 1,200 meters to elevate it to Code 3C, thus increasing its capacity to handle larger aircraft of up to 56 passengers. Expand the width of the runway from 18 meters to 30 meters to conform with the runway code requirements. Rehabilitate pavements by repairing potholes and asphalt concrete overlay, pavement markings, drainage works, and other associated works. As of now, the government has no plans in place to upgrade the facility to commercial status, but shall be seeking the indulgence of the National Assembly in the allocation of funds for possible consideration of upgrading it. Mr. Speaker, the tender on the Seikuru airstrip, the tender document was issued on 17th of August 2021 through an advertisement in My Government, the Kenya Airports Authority website, and the PPIP portal. The advert closed on 2nd February 2022. A notification of intention to enter into a contract was issued on 13 July 2022, and the contractor signed and returned the acceptance of the offer on 20 July 2022. Before the contract could be signed, it was noted that there was outstanding land matters that are yet to be resolved, and therefore the contract could not be executed to enable the commencement of the works. Following a joint boundary verification and establishment of beacons that was undertaken by the Kenya Airports Authority, National Land Commission, District Surveyor, and the County Government of Kitui, it was established that parts of the runway 06 to 24, are within the road reserve class C road from Seikuru town to Usweni, as shown in the attached site layout drawing. Additional parcel of approximately 50 acres are required for the relocation of the access road and overhead KPLC, Kenya Power Lighting Company power lines. The additional land parcels will also ensure that there is adequate provision for apron, taxiways, passenger terminal building, and office block. Due to the outstanding land matters, therefore, the contract cannot be signed until additional funding is availed to enable purchase of additional parcels of approximately 50 acres and compensation of the project affected persons. On Mutumo Airstrip, Mr. Speaker, Mutumo Airstrip is a Code 2C aerodrome with a gravel runway service measuring 890 meters long and 20 meters wide. It is located along the Kitui-Kibwezi Road with geographical coordinates indicated below. Currently, there is no ongoing construction works for allocation of fund in the financial year 2023-24 or 24-25 as per the budget provision, Mr. Speaker. I thank you.
Question number 16, Senator Kathuri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for indulging me to ask this question to the CS loans. Mr. Speaker, could the Cabinet Secretary provide a schedule of pending bills currently owned by the Kenya Urban Loans Authority, KULA, and the Kenya National Youth Authority, Kenya, to contractors engaged in road construction projects across the country, clearly indicating the proportion that constitute accumulated interest and the penalties from delayed payments. And Part B, what occasioned the delay in settling bills due for payment by the two government entities, resulting in accumulation of unavoidable interest and penalties that overshot the costs of the respective projects to untenable levels. And Part C, Honorable Speaker, what measures has the government put in place to ensure the timely settlement of bills as they fall due, and could the Cabinet Secretary provide a timeline for the settlement of the existing pending bills? And Part D, the last one, could the Cabinet Secretary also explain mechanisms the government has put in place to improve the quality of procurement and project management processes to mitigate against irregular award of tenders, inflation of project costs, and certification as complete of projects that have not attained the requisite standards? I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable CS.
Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, because the road questions, I see the road questions are fairly similar, whether it is in Meru, whether it's the question on Nandi, in terms of this road has not been done this. Let me just make a very brief statement, Mr. Speaker, on the status of the roads in just 3 minutes. Mr. Speaker, first, I noticed that 5 of the 8 questions touch on road infrastructure, and I think it reflects the importance of the importance and that the distinguished members of this House assigned to this sector, which is a key enabler insofar as development is concerned. Given the high level of interest in the performance of this sector, which also has been witnessed first and during 28 consultative meetings between the Ministry and National Assembly and Senate members from different counties, including their speakers, let me give you a global figure overview of the status of the roads. My ministry wishes to bring to the attention of this Senate 2 subjects. The first concerns road construction. Regarding the road construction, the development vote for the national government exchequer made available to support road projects in this financial year was 63 billion. While this allocation is a significant amount and the ministry will diligently ensure that the money is used very well, it is notable that the pending bill on various projects as at 31st December 2023 is 163 billion and 162.4 billion. It may be seen that with the budget allocation of at 38% of the pending bills before taking into account the certified value of new works to be undertaken in the course of the year, the projects are significantly under-resourced at the moment. The consequence of the road projects funding gap will have been well noted by members of this House, who in their role as representative of the people should be duly informed of the status of the road projects in their respective regions. Most projects funded under the development vote are progressing much slower than they ought to be. And if we go at this rate, Mr. Speaker, we will complete those roads in 15 years. That is serious. As mentioned earlier, most projects have significant payment arrears that have built up since 2019, 2020 or earlier. And hence, even when partial payments are made, construction does not resume immediately. In the last year and a half, global and macroeconomic constraints did not allow sufficient fiscal headroom for the project funding gap to be addressed adequately. However, in the economic situation now stabilizing and showing signs of positive outlook, the ministry is working closely with the National Treasury to ensure that the government efforts to complete ongoing projects are expedited. And you've heard the President, Mr. Speaker, making publicly his intention, including in meetings that we were together in Bomet, that the next financial year we should provide a budget allocation of over 100 billion so that then we can quickly complete the pending bills. The second issue is road maintenance. The enabling legislation governing the resource of road maintenance, such as the Road Maintenance Levy Fund Act, the Kenya Roads Board Act, and the Kenya Roads Act, were enacted in 1993 and 2007 and served well their respective roles over the years. However, in the time since these pieces of legislation came into force, the government has strongly prioritized and upgrading to bitumen standards of rural roads that are largely under the purview of Kenya Rural Roads Authority. These roads reach deep into the countryside and provide the equivalent of a last mile connectivity for the road transport system. The challenge is that the resources for maintaining paved rural roads are not adequately provided for in the current allocation of road maintenance funds. In fact, it is an understatement to say not adequately provided for. They are actually not provided for. While Kenya receives 32% of the road maintenance levy fund, little of this prioritized for purpose of maintaining paved roads. While making this observation, allow me to know that my ministry continues to appreciate the good work done on unpaved roads with the guidance of the Constituency Roads Committee, a participatory and responsive mechanism that ensures local pain points and bottlenecks receive adequate attention. The effect of lack of designated funding for maintenance of paved roads is that recently constructed rural roads, particularly about 5,100 kilometers under Kera, lack the resources for maintaining them. Consequently, there is a real risk that in the absence of proper maintenance, the newly built roads will progressively deteriorate, and some have already deteriorated, and ultimately no longer serve their intended purpose. I'm sure members of this House, given the excellent information they have about road conditions in their areas, can provide some of the roads, rural paved roads that need maintenance. There is a Rombo road here in Kajiado. We have a road in Laikipia, Mr. Speaker. There is a road of Kuresoi to Silibwet. There is a road, Mr. Speaker, that we were with Majority Leader in his county, Chepseon to Daraja, to Makutano. Mailine, actually, that's the place is Mailine, and many other places across the country. All these roads that were done under low volume seal. Since the budget was not provided for maintenance, all those roads are deteriorating and no attention is given because the entire allocation to the Kera is concentrating on the Maram roads in the rural areas. And the structure that we have at the moment, all that allocation is going to those type of roads. So, Mr. Speaker, the situation with the road maintenance is further complicated by the fact that the fuel levy has remained 18 shillings per litre since 2016, a time when litre of a petrol cost was 100 shillings. In 2024, the fuel levy is still at 18 per litre, whereas a litre of petrol costs about 200. The steady decline in the purchasing power of the fuel levy collection means that there is a growing backlog of maintenance activities that ought to have been done but were instead postponed and deferred. Specifically, the projection resource needed for the maintenance of the levy fund for financial year 2024-2025 is projected resources need for road maintenance levy fund for 2024-2025 is 110 billion, while the anticipated collection of that same year is 69, a shortfall of about 40 billion. This funding shortfall risks reversing the trend of ever-improving road pavement conditions that citizens are now accustomed to and take for granted. This problem is cross-cutting and affects both the roads in Kenya, Kura, Kera, and maintained by the Kenya Wildlife Services. Mr. Speaker, we anticipate that in due course of the government will bring a proposed legislation to address the road maintenance challenges, and currently I am working on, Mr. Speaker, a cabinet memo to think of how else we are going to do what we need to do, including what in my response to the Deputy Party Leader of DP, Mr. Speaker, that tolling and increase of RMLF, we have even proposed that RMLF should increase to 23 shillings per litre by the year 2025 if we are going to bridge the gap that is in place, and I will be coming back to this House on the same. So specifically to this now question, and briefly, because I have given the global figure, Mr. Speaker, the total pending bill for Kenya as of 31st January 2024 is 87 billion 907,106. 87 billion 90 million 907,106, and the proportion of the interest on delayed payment is 4 billion 803,584, whereas the Kura, the total pending bill is 15 billion 548, 928, 503, and the interest or delayed payment is 18 billion 18 million 306,207. The respective schedule for pending bills for both Kenya and Kura are attached in the response. I don't know why we didn't, the Honorable Deputy Speaker did not ask about Kera. and I should have also included in my statement just for the global figure, for you to appreciate that 87 plus 18, the difference, which is about 60 billion, is on the Kera roads, Mr. Speaker. The delay in settling the pending bills was caused by a budget cuts during the supplementary budget processing and delayed receipt of exchequer funding. The ministry is in constant liaison with the National Treasury to ensure that adequate consideration is given to project funding during budget preparation process. The ministry also seeks the indulgence of this House, which is the enacting authority for enacting authority for legislation to support programs, Mr. Speaker, that relate to supporting alternative mechanism of raising funds. And I am amending that section specifically because this is not the National Assembly. Article 227 of the Constitution provides for the procurement and the asset disposal system that is fair, equitable, transparent, competitive, and cost-effective. The public procurement was previously undergone serious reforms, and current Article 227 is being operationalized by the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015 and Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Regulation 2020. All procurement across the road agencies in Kenya, Kera, and Kura are done in strict adherence and compliance with the provision of the Act and its attendant regulation. The Act provides a roadmap on the procurement process from planning and budgeting up to the inspection and acceptance of contracted goods, services, and works. Use of standard bidding documents and adherence to the set evaluation criteria has been paramount.
Honorable CS, just a minute. What is your intervention, Honorable Senator Kathure?
Honorable Speaker, I want to save the CS, my friend Kipchumba Murkomen, some minutes, because Party D, I think I'm satisfied with the explanation, so I'm trying to save you some minutes, but I'll make a comment on the other part.
Okay.
So Party D, I'm okay with it.
I am very happy, Mr. Speaker, not to reread the statement, because you know it is submitted earlier to Parliament, and I'm glad that the Deputy Speaker, in his wisdom, and as a part of your support system in the House, has saved me time. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Senator Fernandi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I'll start with my question number 1. Question number 011, sorry. Question 1A, Part A, would the Cabinet Secretary provide an overview of the performance metrics of Kenya Airways KQ, particularly the gross and operational profit or loss for the half-year ended June 2023, explaining how the profits or loss compared against other key industry players, Mr. Speaker, sir. Part B, Mr. Speaker, sir, could the Cabinet Secretary provide a comprehensive account of all support, including government bailouts and loans from Export-Import Bank of the United States of America, extended to Kenya Airways over the last 10 years, highlighting the respective amounts received and the purposes for which the support was extended? Number C, Mr. Speaker, sir, which foreign consultancy firms have been engaged by the KQ in the last 10 years to revitalize the airline, and could the Cabinet Secretary indicate the respective amounts paid to each, as well as provide an overview of the recommendations made by the firms, Mr. Speaker, sir? Finally, D, what was the rationale behind the decision of KQ to ground Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner, registered as 5Y KZJ, another Boeing 737-700, registered as 5Y KQH, KQH and KQG, that is 787-8, and could the Cabinet Secretary also explain why the option of converting this aircraft to cargo planes was not pursued, and identify the authority that approved the removal of parts from this aircraft? I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable CS, you may proceed to respond.
Just By way of introduction, Mr. Speaker, I hope this is the last time I'll answer questions about Kenya Airways, because it's our intention to return Kenya Airways to a private company so that the government of Kenya cannot continue subsidizing Kenya Airways, and therefore the public do not have a stake for us to come and answer questions about private companies in Parliament. So our effort in the Manifesto of Kenya Kwanza to make sure that we offload all the shares that the government owns in the Kenya Airways, so that we return it to a profitable private company that will not require the subsidies that we have had to subsidize and converted. If we convert the debt that they owe to the government of Kenya into equity, it increases their shareholding. So hopefully our manifesto objectives of getting a strategic investor will make it the last time we are discussing Kenya Airways. Mr. Speaker, as captured in the table below, and I'm sure the Honourable Senator has an answer, the submitted statement in good time. As captured in the table below, the Ministry through Kenya Airways reported an operating profit in the first half of financial year 2023, a milestone that it hadn't reached in the previous 6 years. The airline has made a significant 120% improvement, reporting an operating profit of 998 million compared to the same period in the previous year, where there was a reported loss of 5 billion. The table number 10 will explain. The growth was fueled by the 56% increase in group revenue, reaching an impressive 75 billion. Additionally, our passenger numbers surged 2.3 million, an impressive 43% growth from 1.6 million. And our earnings before interest, tax and depreciation and amortization and rent costs witnessed a commendable upswing of 7 points. Our gross profit improved by an impressive 131%, resulting in these commendable outcomes. We acknowledge that our legacy debt did bring down the impressive operating results, primarily to the huge forex losses because of the depreciation of the Kenya shillings against the dollar. These forex losses were primarily due to the re-evaluation of the US dollar denomination loans and liabilities. These finance charges in total amount of 22 billion and therefore heavily impacted our overall results. Mr. Speaker, the airline industry is highly competitive and therefore profit margins in the industry are thin. According to the International Airport Transport Association, IATA, the average net profit margin for the global airline industry is typically less than 5%. An overview of airline profitability compared to other industries is captured below. Vulnerability to external factors. Airlines are highly vulnerable to external factors that can impact the profitability, including fluctuations in fuel prices, currency devaluations, supply chain challenges, and geopolitical events. Capital intensity. Airlines require significant capital investment in aircraft maintenance and infrastructure, which can limit their profitability. This is unlike other businesses that do not have the same level of capital intensity. Cynicality. The airline industry is cynical and can be sensitive to economic cycles. During economic downturns, demand for air travel may decline, affecting airline profitability. Regulation. Airlines are subject to extensive regulation, including safety and security requirements, which can add operational costs. Competition. The airline industry is highly competitive with many players operating in the market. Competition can lead to price wars and reduced profit margins. Operational challenges. Airlines face operational challenges, including maintenance, scheduling, and workforce management, which can impact cost and profitability. Pricing strategy. Airlines often use dynamic pricing strategy that can affect their profit margins. Prices for air tickets can vary widely based on factors like demand, time of booking, and seat class. In summary, Honorable Speaker, while airlines provide essential transportation services, their profit margins are typically lower compared to many other industries, and their profitability is subject to a range of external factors and competitive pressure. Additionally, IATA indicates that the global airline industry is expected to return to profitability in 2024, but financial performance across regions remain diverse. The industry financials are improving in all regions, from the COVID-related depths of 2020, although not all regions are expected to deliver a profit this year. Africa remains a difficult market in which to operate an airline with economic infrastructure and connectivity challenges impacting the industry performance. Nonetheless, despite the challenges, there is still robust demand for air travel in the region, which underpins the continued move towards return to overall industry profitability. Kenya Airways' current performance of financial year 2024 projections are predicated on this forecast, and Kenya Airways targets to return to profitability in financial year 2024 as depicted in the table below. Mr. Speaker, the table below shows also the loans acquired by Kenya Airways, and I'm sure the Honourable Senator can read from the GOK loans. You can see what we've been giving Kenya Airways, including the 10 billion we gave as soon as the government came to office. I wish to inform the House that Kenya Airways was not the only recipient of the government assistance, specifically to cope with the negative impact of COVID-19. Various governments in Africa and outside Africa have provided direct support to the airlines. They include Senegal, $128 million, relief package for its tourism and air transport sector. Seychelles waived all landing and parking fees for the period from April to December 2020, and Cote d'Ivoire waived in tourism tax for transit passengers. In addition, other governments that provided fiscal support to their travel and tourism sectors are shown below. From Egypt to Ghana to Zambia to Cameroon, we've given that list. Technically, it is worth noting that KQ has no loan facility from the Export-Import Bank of the United States of America. The US Exim Bank is a guarantor of a facility of $841.6 million to procure 6 787 aircraft on one 777-300 range aircraft and one Jenks engine. This is 90% of the total facility of the 924 million provided by Citibank and JP Morgan Chase Bank, NA. Mr. Speaker, table below gives a detailed overview of the firms contracted to provide services. Mackenzie, Mr. Speaker, operational support in Project Safari.
Just pause a bit. What is your intervention, Senator Fernandez?
Mr. Speaker, since I have the answer and I've gone through it, to assist the House to move fast. Okay. If members want to...
the response has been circulated to honorable senators.
Yes, that is why I wanted to assist the House to move fast, Mr. Speaker, sir. Would it be in order I ask my 2 supplementary questions so that we make progress as a House? Would that be better?
Will proceed to ask question number 12, number 13, and thereafter you will...
So I ask the 4 supplementary questions. Okay. So, Mr. Speaker, since you have given guidance, so let me just say,
Mr. Speaker, for the record, I think it's important for the Hansard. You just say that in terms of the farms contracted, I just read the farms. I don't need to read what they do. Okay. Mackenzie was contracted in 2015.
If you can paraphrase...
I don't need to paraphrase the rest, Mr. Speaker. I just read the names.
Great.
The farms contracted are 3. Mr. Speaker, for 2015 to 2016 is Mackenzie. For 2016, PJT Partners. And 2020, Seabury. I think that is all I can say, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. No. Mr. Speaker, there is an important answer, if I may, with your permission, that I'm sure even the public will be very happy to know. That's the last only one paragraph that is related to the grounded airlines.
Senator Sifuna, what is your intervention? Certainly it cannot be a point.
Mr. Speaker, you know the CS insisted on giving us the name of the contractors. But my document says McKinsey. Yes, it says McKinsey here, Mr. Speaker, on the document. He has told us Mackenzie. I don't know if they are the same.
Honorable CS, can you clarify that?
Mr. Speaker, let me just refer back to the document. Yes, correct, it's McKinsey. Thank you. It's Mackenzie. Because there is another farm called Mackenzie. So that's where the... No, not the person. There is a farm called Mackenzie. Mr. Speaker, let me just... Mr. Speaker, I just want to read this statement regarding, there have been public debate about a plane that we donated, so it's important to read it for the record. KQ has not grounded any aircraft 5YKZJ, which is as Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Took some time undergoing heavy maintenance because of unavailability of many essential and critical components parts in the aircraft market. These shortages are well published in the industry. 5YKQG and 5YKQH are or were two Boeing B737-700 aircraft in the KQ fleet under the operating lease arrangement. Upon the end of the lease, the lessors, owners of the aircraft, decommissioned the aircraft. Mr. Speaker, it's important for those who may be new to the industry, is that when some of the planes that are owned or run by airlines are not necessarily owned by the airlines, they are under operating lease. And Mr. Speaker, upon the end of the lease, the lessors themselves decommissioned the aircraft, salvaged valuable components from the two aircraft, removed what they thought is important, and transferred what was remained of the aircraft to KQ at zero cost. The authority to remove parts was probably vested on the lessors being the owners of the aircraft. The two aircraft, having been decommissioned and stripped by the owners for parts, had therefore only one viable use as mock-ups in training. So 5YKQG was thus transferred to Kenya Airways Training School, Pride Center, and if you visit it, for use in cabin crew emergency training, practical aviation security training, and in-flight service training as for mock training. As part of its CSR training, KQ donated 5YKQH on as is basis to Mangu High School for their training. Mangu is the only public high school with a well-developed flying school and club, and it provides a pool of skills sets that fits into the KQ workforces. All these were procedurally approved by KQ Board of Directors. The estimate value of these two decommissioned aircraft is nothing more than their scrap value. Mr. Speaker, I was in the donation. I was invited to participate in the donation as a chief guest. The students were extremely excited. Mr. Speaker, this was nothing except for scrap value. And if you go to Kitengela, you will find somebody running a restaurant there called 034 with a plane being the restaurant. Mr. Speaker, it doesn't mean that that's a plane which should have been flying cargo. So I think it's also important to make this abundantly clear to the public, because a statement was issued by a member of parliament in the past to say that we were donating a plane that could have brought billions of dollars. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator for Nandi, proceed to ask question number 12.
Mr. Speaker, I proceed with my supplementary?
No.
Okay.
Number 12.
Question number 12. Mr. Speaker, sir, question number 012. Question 1. When will the ongoing project for the expansion of Karenga Airstrip in Kericho County be completed? Number 2, Mr. Speaker, what is the total budgetary allocation for the project, and could the Cabinet Secretary provide a detailed breakdown of the expenditures incurred so far? And number C, could the Cabinet Secretary provide a detailed assessment of the quality of the works for the project, stating what the government is doing to hold accountable the contractor and any other individuals responsible for any identified lapses? I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable CS, you may proceed to respond. Question number 12.
Mr. Speaker, this is a more straightforward answer, so I'll just read the answers. Mr. Speaker, the request to undertake the refurbishment of Karenga Airstrip emanated from the National Celebrations Technical Committee during their visit to Kericho on 15th of June 2023 to assess the status of the facility in the county in readiness for the Mashujaa Day following the presidential directive to hold the celebrations in Kericho. Refurbishment of the airstrip involved upgrading the runway to Maram standards and construction of an open steel frame shade to facilitate movement of guests during the celebrations. The works were successfully completed on 18th of October 2023, 2 days before 18th of October 2023. Mr. Speaker, the project total cost to date is 55.4 million shillings, for which 45.4 million is for the clearing, stripping, and grading for the runway, as well as related drainage works, including the construction of an aircraft holding 100 meters by 50 meters apron, and Kenya shillings 10 million for the building of an open steel frame shade. Honorable Speaker, no lapses were experienced during the execution of this project. The work was completed in compliance with the bill of quantities, specifications, and the drawings. The project manager's successive approval were done up until the completion of the works. The ministry is negotiating with the landowners to sell land to Kenya Airports Authority for development of the airstrip. Though the ministry has challenges with the land ownership of the moment, the project will be completed once the land is acquired. The minister has also had full consultation with the leaders of Kericho on this very important matter. Mr. Speaker, just for emphasis, this Karenga airstrip land is owned by Eketera, the owners of the tea estate. And so even when we developed it, it was in the understanding that we will have to engage them to complete the works. We worked with the Kenya Defense Forces, who are the contracted, they were actually the contractors to construct the runway to Maram standard, and as you saw, it was useful for the celebrations. Going forward, we intend to acquire at least 50 to, if possible, 100 acres of that land, so that we do a proper airport that will enable agricultural farmers there and people traveling to Kericho and its environs to be able to land in that place and take off from that Kericho. I want to thank the leaders of Kericho, led by the majority leader here, for their support, understanding, and also for the work we are doing together quietly, Mr. Speaker, to acquire the land. The problem with such infrastructure, when you come to Parliament or public and announce that we are looking for land, usually the prices shoot up, it's inflated. The good news is that we are discussing this with already an established investor. So we have made it clear to the investor that land acquisition will be on fairly concessional terms, considering that they are also leaseholders from the government of Kericho County. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Fernandi, proceed to ask question number 13.
Mr. Speaker, sir, question number 13013, question 1, could the Cabinet Secretary provide a status update on all projects from the construction and upgrade of roads undertaken by national government in Nandi County since 2013, explaining any discrepancies between the contractual and actual dates of completion? But B, Mr. Speaker, what are the reasons for the delay in resuming construction of Kaiboy, Chepterwai, Kapkatembu, Chomisha, Chemuswa, Chomisia, Danger Road, Timboroa, Maraba, Kopere Road, Mugundoi, Nandi Hills Road, Nandi Hills, Simaki Road, Lesos, Keses, Cheptiret, and Cheptiret to Lone Moi University roads in Nandi County, which have stalled? And could the Cabinet Secretary also outline steps taken by the government to expedite the resumption and completion of these projects, Mr. Speaker, sir? I thank you.
Honorable CS, you may proceed to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm glad that I'm responding to this question, having given a global picture of the roads in the country. So already I had shared with you the the situation in the country, thanks to the question from the Deputy Speaker. So I'll just go straight to the answer. I wish to state that 183 kilometers of roads have been upgraded to bitumen standard with 2 major bridges constructed to completion in Nandi County since 2013, undertaken by Kenya Rural Roads Authority. Details of the projects are detailed in the annex. Concerning discrepancy between the contractual and actual dates of completion, I wish to state that the ministry has faced financial challenges in the funding, as I earlier indicated, due to inadequate allocation and disbursement from the National Treasury over the years. This has culminated in the accumulation of significant pending bills from certified works. Contractors have consequently been reluctant to complete the works in the affected projects, citing non-payment of their dues. The government, through the National Treasury, is working on the mechanism to facilitate significant reduction of our clearing of pending bills in the near future. This will result in the full resumption of completion of affected projects countrywide. Roads under the jurisdiction of Kenya in Nandi County have been managed through performance-based maintenance contracts and routine maintenance contracts, depending on the planned intervention and available resources. The agency is currently managing 10 ongoing maintenance contracts in the county. 9 of the maintenance projects are administered by the Western Region Office, situated in Kakamega. 1 project is administered in the North Rift Regional Office. That's the routine maintenance and support improvement of JN A8 Eldoret Kapsabet Road, which is commenced on 8th March 2024 and is scheduled to end on 4th September 2024 with a contract sum of 38,218,314. The road is 40 kilometers long, but only 22 of it's in Nandi County, i.e. from the Mlango to Chebarbara. Lastly, the roads done under the jurisdiction of the Kenya Urban Roads are indicated in the table below. That is, we are upgrading to bitumen standards the Kamobo Baraton University Road, performance-based routine maintenance of Kapsabet Municipality, Nandi, which are 1, 2, 3, 4 in Kapsabet, and then routine maintenance of package 5 roads in Kapsabet, again 5 and 6, and then upgrading, Mr. Speaker, of Mosoriot Township, 5.3 kilometers. What are the reasons for delay in the resumption of the other roads, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, for the Kaiboi, Chepterwai, Kapkatembu, Timboroa, Maraba, Kopere Road, this road, Mr. Speaker, when I came to office, is part of the 8 roads that we discussed with the agency and terminated their contract for non-performance because they had been awarded earlier in 2016 and nothing had happened for the entire period. Those roads are in Nandi, Meru, Baringo, Elgeyo Marakwet, Kisii, Homa Bay, and Makwiny. There are 8 roads, and I have the tabulation I can share to the House. Mr. Speaker, the project commenced, the one for Kaiboi, Chepterwai, Kapkatembu, Timboroa, all these roads, the project commenced in February 2017 and was to be completed in February 2021. The contract has since been mutually terminated due to contractual challenges. To enable timely delivery, the works were split into 2 lots, repackaged and retendered. The contracts were awarded on 14th March 2024 and are expected to be signed within the next 28 days as per the law, upon submission of the requisite securities by the contractors. The contractors will be then mobilized and commence works with immediate effect. On the Chemuswa, Danger, Moi University, the Chemuswa, Danger, the Nandil, Simaki, Lesos, Cheptiret, and the Cheptiret, Moi University roads. These are parts of the ongoing roads, Mr. Speaker, which has faced challenges of completion. The project was originally scheduled for completion in August 2020, long time ago, but this has since been revised to August 2025 due to inadequate budgetary allocation that have led to the contractor being unable to complete the projects due to cash flow challenges. Mr. Speaker, just for the comfort of the other senators who may not have asked a similar question, this is what I told you earlier, that in the entire country, about 60 billion shillings is pending in Kenya roads from Mombasa to Malaba, from Lokichokio to Loitoktok. All of them suffer this kind of consequences, Mr. Speaker. That's why I told you I had to read the global statement so that even those who will ask follow-up questions appreciate that the circumstance under which we are operating is a very poor budgetary allocation. Mr. Speaker, the last part is the Mugundoi Nandi Hills Road was proposed for upgrading to bitumen standards through, though we have been maintaining the road to achieve motorability utilizing 22% of the fuel levy funds. I acknowledge the completion of the Timbaroa, Mateitei, Seko, Kopere Road have faced significant delays due to contractual challenges caused by inadequate budget allocation. The contractor achieved 47 kilometers of tarmac but was unable to complete the total contracted 94 kilometers of roads despite numerous interventions. Consequently, the ministry, in consultation with the Office of the Attorney General, mutually terminated the contract on 28th of August 2023. This paved way for the retendering of the remainder of the works advertised on 27 October 2023. To enable timely delivery, the works was split into 2 lots, repackaged and retendered. The contract was awarded on 14th March 2024 and are expected to be signed in 28 days, as I said earlier. Contractor will be required to mobilize and commence immediately. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator for Kisumu, proceed to ask question 010.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I go right to ask question number 010. And the question is addressed to the Cabinet Secretary for Roads and Transport. Could the Cabinet Secretary for Roads and Transport provide comprehensive data and records on road accidents involving tractors transporting sugarcane from farms to factories in sugarcane growing areas in Kisumu County since 2017? Part 2, how many of these accidents are attributable to unroadworthy tractors and competence of tractor drivers? Third, what is the government doing to strengthen and streamline regular monitoring and enforcement of licensing of tractor drivers as well as the inspection of tractors? And the last part, Mr. Speaker, sir, is what measures are in place to ensure proper maintenance of roads in sugarcane growing areas? And could the Cabinet Secretary state plans to compensate persons affected by road accidents involving these tractors? Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable CS, you may proceed to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the total number of farm tractors presented for post-accident inspection are as tabulated below. In 2019 it was 7, 2020 9, 2021 9, 2022 3, 2023 4, and so far in this year 1. For the period of 2019 to 2024, the total number of defective tractors were 9. The ministry, through its implementing agency NTSA, conducts road safety sensitization forums quarterly with cane processing factories operating within the Kisumu County and its environs. These factories include Kibos Sugar and Allied Company Limited in Kisali, West Kenya Sugar Company, Kabras, Chemelil Sugar Company, Moroni Sugar Company, and Butali Sugar Mills. Following a meeting of the Kisumu County Transport and Safety Committee held on 5th July 2023, it was noted that most accidents involving cane trucks were due to the following reasons: poor visibility of cane truck drivers on the road, as most trucks lack chevron and proper lighting equipment; failure to observe operating hours. No sugarcane trucks shall be allowed on the road before 6 a.m. and after 6 p.m. Most drivers free wheel, especially when approaching a flyover, to gain momentum to move uphill, resulting in accidents. For example, the Kasagam flyover, where several sugarcane trucks have rolled over due to freewheeling. These facilities have been designed to be navigated at a certain speed. For example, the maximum speed of the Kasagam flyover is 40 kilometers per hour. Thus, a driver going at any speed above the limit is at risk of causing accidents. There is need for drivers to undergo road safety training and defensive driving skills, frequent breakdowns and delays in attending to stalled trucks on highways. In order to address the issue raised about safety matters, the Ministry has scheduled sensitization activities on sugar transporters and farmers beginning this month. Proper and secure can loading on tractor trailers to minimize obstruction, ensure visibility, and prevent spillage on carriageways. Settling and enforcing operating hours for can collection points from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Additionally, the NTSA conducts free inspection clinics for farm tractors to can collection points. This is done to ensure tractors are properly mounted retro-reflective chevron. Furthermore, NTSA conducts joint operation with traffic police to ensure compliance. Mr. Speaker, the NTSA have designated the roads in sugarcane growing areas under performance-based contracts and routine maintenance contracts whose specifications include but are not limited to the following: clearing any debris on the carriageway, drop-offs from sugarcane trucks, sealing of emerging potholes on the carriageway, desilting road drainage systems on the obstruction, road marking to enhance road safety. That must be Kenya. Yeah, sorry, I read that NTSA, but it's Kenya actually, Mr. Speaker. Please correct the report accordingly, the document accordingly, Senator Professor Gender. It is supposed to be Kenya as designated. Axle loading control to curb loading, pavement strengthening on need-to basis to accommodate sugarcane traffic loading. Roads in Western Kenya region include Kakamega, Kiboswa, Kakamega, Webuye, Kitale, Ekero, Mayoni, Mbwekas, and Ebuyangu, Ekero. Roads in Nyanza region include Ewasi, Nandi Hills, Moroni, Fortenan, Hawasi, Katito, Awendo, Mariwa, Kilgoris, Rongo, Homa Bay, Ranen, Chamkiwadu to Kenyanya, Rodi, Kopany, Tundiwa, Katiko, Kendu Bay, Homa Bay, and Mamboleo, Kiboswa. Additionally, the ministry through Kenya has conducted stakeholders engagement with sugarcane transporters and interested stakeholders and sensitized them on adherence to acceptable rear, top, on side of vehicle distance limits when carrying sugarcane as per the Traffic Act guidelines. This aimed at minimizing accidents caused by reduced visibility to other motorists due to improper packaging of sugarcane. Effects of overloading on the carriageway. Procedure of obtaining permits from NTSA under special cases of cane transportation. Need for proper packaging for sugarcane on trucks to minimize drop-offs and littering on the carriageway to minimize maintenance cost. Mr. Speaker, this statement is coming at a time when we have unfortunately lost a number of people yesterday and the day before on road accidents, including students of Kenyatta University, and including also the accident that happened in Olenguruoni, Silibwet Road, and the other one that happened in Moroni. Mr. Speaker, road accidents is becoming a threat to our national health system. In fact, we are speaking with Honorable Nakumicha, the CS Health, about the impact of such accidents on our health facilities. Mr. Speaker, just let me use this moment, because I've got this opportunity through this August House, to condole with the families that were affected. And number two, Mr. Speaker, to assure the public that the directive that President Uhuru Kenyatta vacated in 2018, that made it impossible for us in the transport sector and NTSA particularly to be on the road to do enforcement, is now revisited. And together with Professor Kindiki in Interior, we will bring back the collaborative effort that required some of the traffic police officers to be seconded to NTSA for proper enforcement. Because, Mr. Speaker, we were left to what you saw me reading here. You know, sensitization, setting the standards. But, Mr. Speaker, even though the Act permits enforcement, on the ground, Mr. Speaker, government decision was made to leave that enforcement only to the traffic police. I believe the new direction will help us to be able to deal with this menace. But last, Mr. Speaker, just to emphasize, even this tractor menace including driving on the roads. Mr. Speaker, the statistics show that most of the accidents are as a result of drivers' behavior. Mr. Speaker, when I announced last year that the drivers will be retested and that you will not get a certificate, the driving license retested, there was hue and cry. And many people say that we were oppressing drivers. But everybody goes through retesting. Lawyers go through every year through training. Doctors do the same. Mr. Speaker, drivers who are carrying human life should be retested so that we know those who are competent. We test even up to their alcohol content and the drug abuse possibilities among the drivers. These are things that we should support as people of Kenya. The last thing is that as individuals and citizens, Mr. Speaker, citizen responsibility is extremely important. The matatu that got an accident in the Silibwed Road, Olengurwani Silibwed Road, Mr. Speaker, had 24 people, which is 10 people extra, and it was carrying 4 bags of maize. That, Mr. Speaker, by the time the 15th person, the 16th person, the 17th person, the 18th person was boarding that matatu, they knew, of course, that it was overloaded. And, Mr. Speaker, we cannot act as citizens that we are ignorant of the fact that you sit in a car, the driver is drunk or over-speeding or it's already overloaded. We also need to take responsibility ourselves as passengers, but more importantly, those who are sitting behind the wheel. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator for Bungoma, you may proceed to ask question number 031.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. My question is as follows. Could the Cabinet Secretary provide a timeline for the rehabilitation and expansion of Luahaha-Chwele-Kimilili-Kamkuyu Road to accommodate the increasing traffic, including heavy trucks plying the route? B, could the Cabinet Secretary indicate the progress made in acquiring land for the expansion of the said road, stating the due diligence followed and the timelines for expansion of residents whose land will be acquired for the project? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS, you may proceed to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Ministry, through the Kenya Rural Roads Authority, upgraded to bitumen standards the sections of Luahaha, Chwele, Kimilili, Kamkuyu Road, namely the Luahaha, Korosiondet, Tulienge, Sirisha, Namuela, Chwele Road, as part of the low-volume seal roads program. And if the Senator was to go even further in his question, he will notice that the road is wearing out. It's one of those roads I was talking about, the low-volume seal roads. The 30-kilometer section, which is under Kera, was completed in 2019, providing access to the Luahaha border point, thereby offering alternative route to Uganda. The completion of the road consequently attracted heavy cross-border traffic, which accelerated its deterioration and raises the need for redesigning and upgrading of the road to commensurate standards that can accommodate the resultant traffic. The proposal for the expansion of the road and its reconstruction, which is projected to include land acquisition due to narrow existing 25-meter corridor, will be forwarded to the National Treasury and presented to Parliament for budgetary consideration alongside other economically significant projects countrywide. The section traversing Kamkuyu, Kimilili, Chwele is currently under rehabilitation works under Kena through hybrid performance-based contract. The scope of the rehabilitation works include road shoulder reinstatement through benching and graveling, reconstruction of base layer and asphalt concrete overlay to selected failed sections, drainage works, including construction of additional access to culverts, lining of side drains, and installation of gabions. Surface dressing to improve on riding surface attrition and seal the carriageway. Road marking and installation, replacement of damaged, vandalized traffic signs. To date, the road shoulders have been reinstated and the carriageway is free of potholes. The agency is aware of the increased traffic along the route, and that is necessitates pavement structured upgrade and expansion works, which shall be executed upon availability of funds. The land acquisition process for the Kamukuya Kimilili section and Kimilili Chwele was completed in 1974 by increasing the road reserve to 60 meters and 40 meters respectively. Some market centers have a road reserve of 25 meters as specified in Gazette number volume this of 46 of 27 of 1974. The ministry is currently not undertaking any land acquisition on the Luakaka, Korosionde, Tulienge, Sirisha, Namuela, Chwele Road. This is because as part of the low volumes seal roads program strategy, roads were deliberately constructed within the existing corridor to eliminate the need for land acquisition, which could require compensation and thus inflate the overall project cost. Just to emphasize this, Mr. Speaker, this is an alternative route, international route. We have, when we are done with the process that is ongoing, we want to transfer this road to Kenya. Because of it is a highway now, it's moved to a highway so that it can be constructed to highway standards, but also with proper border post, an alternative border post in the Luakaga Chwele Road. Mr. Speaker, the leaders of Bungoma, from the governor to the senator to the MPs, have been very particular about it, and I promise them that in the next financial year we'll find resources under Kenya. First, we'll make sure that transfer will have been done from Kera to Kenya, and then from there we will be able to make sure that we put weighbridge in that section, but also we improve it to Kenya standards. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Kathuri, do you have any supplementary questions? Proceed.
That's a long.
Honourable Speaker, my question was on the national pending bills across the two institutions. Mr. Speaker, my concern is the interest that are accruing, especially with Kenya, because as the CS has put it, this is the 7 billion pending bills and the interest is 4 billion. So, Mr. Speaker, my concern is that we have so many loans which are dilapidated. And if we are paying this interest, then, Mr. Speaker, this is the money which should be going to maintain such loans as the CS has put it. So, the issue is delayed funding from the Exchequer. Mr. Speaker, because we are planning as a country and as a government, my issue was, why is the delay in Exchequer? It is because some of these loans, most of them are funded through the Exchequer, Mr. Speaker. So what plan maybe if, because the CS is saying it needs 150, 160 billion to carry out the pending bills. If we doesn't get them the next 1 year, does it mean that we are going again to 6 billion interest, Mr. Speaker? And the second one was about the maintenance of roads, Mr. Speaker. My issue is we have invested a lot in these roads. And once we fail to maintain, we are losing that investment, Mr. Speaker. Like where I come from, we have a very busy road called Chogoria Marimba Meru Road. This road was built by European Union to support the tea factories across that belt. But, Mr. Speaker, this road is never maintained. There are heaps of soils. Once it rains, there is a lot of soil which piles on that particular road, Mr. Speaker. And I've addressed it. And, Mr. Speaker, even though that we have no money for doing new roads and these other things, Honorable CS, when some of us lied to the ministry requesting for support, you know we have been around for some time, Mr. Speaker, and some of us have no vested interest on what happens when we make our requests. But I want to really request the ministry that even though we are not in the National Assembly, because we are representing people, when we make interventions through the ministry for particular roads, Mr. Speaker, you saw me working on potholes in Meru County because of the Meru-Nairobi highway, because the road maintenance was poor. So when some of us lied to the ministry requesting for specific interventions, I want to request the ministry on record today that they shouldn't be listening to some of us. We are owners, Inchurincheke owners, and once I tell you something, as a CS, as a PS, you must know this thing is coming from the kingdom of Meru.
What is your question, Honorable Kathori?
What I was saying is that the CS should try and maintain especially the national highways, Mr. Speaker, and then any interventions that we put across is that those interventions are not coming from me, but from the great people of Meru, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Unfortunately, the Honorable Senator is done. Proceed as CS. If you picked any questions from that long
Mr. Speaker, I share the same concerns with the Honorable Senator and the Deputy Speaker. You see, if you have interest now, I need to add for your record that it is 6 billion in Kera. So you have 6 billion in Kera, 4 billion in Kura, 4 billion in Kenya, and 19 million in Kura. Those are interest only. But there is something else that I wish I had added, claims, which we cannot define at the moment, because the contractor is claiming the machines were on site. I need another mobilization money to come there. The fuel prices have changed. So protracted pending bills, like the ones we have done from 2017, 2016, 2017 to now, is causing us problems. Two things. One, because you have the legislative mandate on roads, equal legislative mandate to National Assembly. I think we need to provide a cap similar to Induplam rule, that even if you are going to ask for interest, it should not be more than twice, on your claims, must not be more than twice the cost of the road. And I'm telling you, Senator, for Meru, I wish I had brought this example here of one contractor who, by going to court, we had paid the contractor up to 8 billion of a bill of 9 billion. The balance, the 8 point something, the balance was about 300 million. But he was awarded by court another extra 3 billion. So I'm asking myself, when a judge is sitting there and awarding an extra 3 billion, where does he think the money comes from, and how are we going to build the roads? So there must be legislative guidance, and I think it will be incumbent upon us as ministry to provide this. Number two, if you are adhering to the procurement law, you see, this is where the problem is. The parliament provides the budget, okay, in the beginning. Then the agency is told, now procure based on that budget. Then towards the end of the year, through supplementary, the budget is reduced. We started this year, for example, development budget at 63. We are now ending at 46. Okay? There's still a gap of 20-something billion shillings. Now that, for the last 7-8 years, we've been providing 5 billion when the agencies are asking for 100. We provide 100 in the beginning of the financial year, and then we create a gap. That is why we have so many, because that's the question anyone should ask themselves. How come, despite the legislative, procurement law, how come we have this level of pending bills, yet our procurement law says, don't procure what you don't have? This is the challenge we have. And as we continue, if there is a big challenge in this government, is to deal with the nearly 700 billion of pending bills in the road sector. And I don't know which formula we will use to sort it in the next 4 years. But I promise, and the promise of this government is to find ways of reducing it significantly so that people can get at least 2,000-3,000 kilometers of the roads completed. On the other issue of maintenance, it's the same. The same situation applies. I said I'll come back with a policy position on how to increase the resources for maintenance. So that then, as we discussed with you, this Chwele Road, for example, Wakaga Road, and the ones in your county like Kipia, all these other roads, under low volume seal. We are negotiating with the National Assembly so that the Constituency Roads Committee can vacate the 10% that is for Kera to come back to maintain those roads to start with. Even if it's not enough, at least we will salvage the worst roads in the country. If we don't do that, we'll build from zero. Some of the contracts were given 2017. Now the contractor akona pending bill. He has a pending bill. He's not completed the pending bill. The road. The part that he started with is already finished. So the part that started is finished. The road is not completed, and that's a real problem. Now, Senator, Deputy Speaker, there is no senator under. That was my position as a senator. That was my position as majority leader in this house. It remains my position as a minister. There is no senator who does not have mandate over oversight of any part of a function in the national government in his role of representation of the people of his county. So you shouldn't sound like you are apologetic for raising road issues in your county. You are not. That's why I'm here. If you didn't have the mandate, I would not be here. So the point is that the questions raised by senators or members of National Assembly is treated equally when it comes to responding to the status of the roads. And in my office, it doesn't matter. That is why, you know, Senator, you are in my office. When you came to the office, we look at the roads in Meru. You came, all of you, as leaders of the county, and we looked at it, all of us as leaders of the county. Even a governor raising a question about the road will not be ignored, despite the fact that they don't sit in any House of Parliament. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Fernandi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I shall take the omnibus of my 3 questions, and I will be very brief and precise with an eye of military marksman. Number 1, Mr. Speaker, question number 3 on the performance of KQ and donation, the answer is not satisfactory to me. So my 2 supplementary questions. 1, can the cabinet minister provide performance acceptance deferred defects that should show performance acceptable technical log with the dates and past log and leases of the said aircrafts and ownership? Question number 2 on that question supplementary. Mr. Speaker, on the consultants, the CS has strategically omitted the presence of 2 consultants. 1 is the steer group and 2 is the famous Polish 5. So the CS should provide that. On question number 2, supplementary question number 2 on Kerenga airstrip, I'll only take 1 supplementary on that. Can the CS confirm that as Kerenga airstrip as it is in Kericho County, it is only graded? So planes tend to get stuck. Does it mean that you will never put it up to bitumen standards? And finally, on question number 3, question number 1 on supplementary, when is he doing reclassification, redesign and expansion of Eldoret, Musoriat, Kapsabet, Chafakali, Shamakoko and Awasi Road? That is supplementary question number 1 on that final question. And finally, Mr. Speaker, when is the CS doing physical visit to assess deplorable roads conditions that I've mentioned above, and he did mention above, and direct maintenance of these roads before rains begin? My cue, the CS has made more visits to Nandi to attend funerals and other social functions, but has not found it necessary to visit these roads physically and verify. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable CS, keep it brief.
Mr. Speaker, first of all, the question of performance of the airplanes, the Honorable Senator says he's not satisfied. If he's not satisfied, Mr. Speaker, I will ask the owners of the plane so that they can engage with the Senator for satisfaction. Answer, therefore, as to unsatisfaction of the Cabinet Secretary on a private owned plane, I don't think it's in the best interest of the country. The best interest of the country is to ask things that are owned by the agency. So, Mr. Speaker, I will treat it as such. Mr. Speaker, there are other 2 groups that the Senator referred to. I don't remember. I had steer group and 1 more. 4? Polish 5. Mr. Speaker, I am glad that the Senator is apprised of that matter. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I don't need to provide any other supplementary answer because he already has an extra 2 companies. He's more aware than myself on that issue, Mr. Speaker. On the third issue, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed, CS. Proceed.
On the third issue, Mr. Speaker, of Karenga airstrip, if the Senator had followed the answer, he asked the same question that I already answered. I answered, Mr. Speaker, that we are in the process of acquiring the land first so that the Karenga airstrip can be built to levels required of an airstrip in our republic. And Mr. Speaker, His Excellency, none other than His Excellency the President is helping us to speak to Eketera, to negotiate together with our brothers in the lands ministry to negotiate the land. And Mr. Speaker, I want to go on record to thank the Senator of Kericho because the majority leader, why he's not asking this question is because he's in the middle of this discussion and is helping facilitate the discussion to get the land from the Eketera itself. And I appreciate senators who are that proactive, Mr. Speaker, because if he had chosen, he would have possibly, majority leader would have possibly come here with a question. But instead he came to my office and we are working together to acquire the land. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of, Mr. Speaker, on the issue of reclassification of Eldoret Nandi roads, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the design is ongoing in terms of widening Eldoret Nandi road. Mr. Speaker, from actually Eldoret to Kapsabet is a bit congested, and particularly as you exit Nairobi, Eldoret from both sides. Mr. Speaker, design is going on from all angles of Eldoret town to see if we can do all the roads. And Mr. Speaker, there is also a bigger, wider program that I explained earlier, which is from Rironi to Mau Summit, that, Mr. Speaker, will facilitate also expanding the roads in this highway. Mr. Speaker, I want to commensurate with Senator Cherargei for losing so many people in this county, and sadly people who are known to me, and which forced me to go for the funerals. So I commensurate with him and his family, and the family of the lost people who lost their lives, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I hope that God can protect as many of my friends as possible so that I don't need to go for funerals in Nandi. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator for Kisumu.
Mr. Speaker, I have a supplementary question to the Minister. And Mr. Speaker, this will focus on an area he touched on the role of NTSA in the registration of motor vehicles, because in his response he talked about a role that NTSA plays. I want the Minister to clarify to Kenyans on the functioning of the e-citizen platform. Mr. Speaker, in the last few months there have been complaints in the public regarding the transfer of motor vehicles and logbooks, and I'm sure the Cabinet Secretary will have this occasion to respond to Kenyans, explain to Kenyans whether there's something wrong with the system and when that problem will be fixed. Mr. Speaker, sir, this supplementary question comes in the wake of the Minister visited NTSA in September last year and addressed specific concerns.
Honorable Senator, just ask your question.
Yes.
And let the CS.
Can the Minister tell the public what measures he has taken to ensure that the e-citizen platform that touches on the functions of the NTSA operates without a hitch, so that Kenyans are able to transact easily through this platform and their transactions are complete? Mr. Speaker, this is important, and this is just as I close off.
It is okay. Yes. The CS has heard your question.
Yes.
Allow him to respond.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Respond, Honorable CS.
Mr. Speaker, we have been undertaking a process of data migration from the platform that we used to operate to the e-citizen platform. This has necessitated these delays, and it is true. I owned up to it to the public also, that there are delays because of the movement to the e-citizens. We are also building a new platform for reasons that I will share in the future once security-related processes that are ongoing is complete. Now I can assure the people of Kenya that the system is up and running. It may experience some itches because we are still in that process of maintenance and seeing how it performs, but we will make sure, Mr. Speaker, that we have put in place officers who are on standby to make sure that if the system fluctuates, we make sure that we respond immediately. But it's also true that there are many Kenyans who have not collected both their logbooks and the driving license and the plates. A number of them, just because they may not be aware, we have built in a SMS system that reminds the citizens that your application is complete and that your document is ready. So I hope the people of Kenya will take advantage of the same and to come and pick their documents. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Lelegwe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to ask one supplementary question, a follow-up question to question 013 and 015, as asked by Senator Murungi and Senator Cherargei. Mr. Speaker, in light of the recent tragic events along the Maralal-Baragoi Southern Road, which has claimed several lives, including the life of Honorable Paul Leshimbro, MCA for Angata Nanyeke Ward, that is on banditry. Mr. Speaker, sir, currently there is a banditry attack on the same road, that is Maralal-Baragoi Road, and a teacher is injured, one Mr. Lekupe, and is now being rushed to Maralal County Referral Hospital for medical attention. So, Mr. Speaker, on this regard, I would like to inquire about the status of the upgrading of Maralal-Baragoi Southern Road to bitumen standards, stating when the upgrading process will commence, confirmation of the budgetary allocation and measures taken to ensure that the safety of road users in the interim, given the increased risk of banditry in the area due to the status of this road. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, thank you. Honorable CS.
Mr. Speaker, I sympathize with my friend, Senator Lelegwe, Senator Dr. Lelegwe, on this situation. We were with him in another function where the governor spoke about it also emotionally. The road from Maralal to Baragoi is 100 kilometers, Mr. Speaker, and 100 kilometers is not easy to tarmac in such areas. But it is also scientifically proven that when the roads are paved, it improves security issues. That is true in the northern part of the country. That's true in sites of Turkana. Mr. Speaker, we have a plan to make sure that we improve this road of Maralal-Baragoi. We have a road from Churo, Amaya, through this Tangulbei up to Laikipia, where Senator John comes from. The road also from Baringo there up to Turkana through Loruk to Lokichar. Mr. Speaker, as part of key security issues to deal with security problems in the country, I have told the Kenya to work on designs on all these key security roads that help us to deal with banditry in Kerio Valley. And our hope is that because of the budgetary constraints, we want to work with some of our development partners, which Uma have mentioned too, to see if they can do what we are doing together in the northeastern part of the country, in the Kerio Valley region, as one way of opening the road. But in the interim, the senator and the leadership of the senator, Honorable Etipila, the governor, have all approached me to say we need perhaps a shorter measure in terms of maintenance of the road. This Friday, Mr. Speaker, I'll be visiting the area, and we will go with Senator Lelegwe and the other elected leaders in the place to see the status, and we are working in the office to get emergency resources to make sure that we maintain that place. We will also be working with Senator Kindiki, the CS Interior, to see how security will be provided to the contractors so that they quickly improve the road to make it a bit motorable and safe for people to drive a bit faster to evade the bandits. Mr. Speaker, it must also get, we must not lose the fact that the real problem is banditry, okay? The road network helps us is one of the ways of dealing with the effects of banditry. The government is doing everything possible, and the CS Interior has been there many times to deal with the question of banditry. And as a leader from that Kerio Valley region, I am very, very concerned, and we're working together to see what ways and how my ministry can contribute in the combating this disease of banditry. I commiserate with my friend Senator Lelegwe for the loss of his friend, the MCA, and Pole to the people of Samburu and Kerio Valley region at large. And I hope that as the government, as we promised, we will deal with banditry with finality. I thank you.
Thank you, CS. There was a question number 15, which was asked by the Senator for Kitui County, and he left the Senator for Makwiny County to believe his belief. So can you ask his supplementary question, just one?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on question number 15, in fact, 14, both of them came from the Senator for Kitui.
15 only, he asked 14. He asked supplementary question 14. Just under 15.
Yes, 15 is Sekuru and Mutomo airstrips, and also the airstrip at Ithokwe. Those three airstrips, Mr. Speaker, are useful in case of a medical emergency evacuations, and they have been in existence. And I understand, I heard the answer the minister gave. Could the minister indicate as to the plans of at least doing earthfill so that they can be used for emergency purposes while we await the major plan he has given us on that particular one? And finally, on the question number 14, which he had asked about the compensation in Kibwezi road all the way to Sekuru, could the minister, on that particular compensation, understanding that this was a company, a country-to-country dealing, is it possible then to have a PPP so that the residents from Kibwezi all the way to Sekuru can be compensated on the roads, land which was taken away from them, since the Constitution expects that anticipates that the people should be compensated before the works begin?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I agree with the Senator Manzo on the prompt and adequate compensation. And Mr. Speaker, as I said earlier, we shouldn't be in this situation if we recast our budgetary approach. We shouldn't be able to be in this situation, but now we are because of how we are managing our budgetary process. I promise you that should the resources herein announced earlier, which is about 100 billion, be given to the road sector, I believe, Mr. Speaker, that we will be able to compensate those people who have stayed for long. For the airstrip, Sekuru airstrip, I agree. We should be, and I've consulted the MD who is sitting here next to me, we should be able to do the maintenance to a good gravel standard for the time being as we work on these contractual issues that we are dealing with. And I promise that we will do that. Thank you, Senator.
Next is Senator, who is this? Olekina Redama. And Honorable Senators, Senator Ngrudia, why do you always like to be dishonorary in this house? What I was saying is that we have another CS education, who is coming before the Senate to answer his questions. It's already 12:45. So kindly indulge me to just get 2 senators from this end and 2 from this end, then we close this business.
Mheshimiwa Speaker, naweza endelea? May I proceed?
Yes, and already.
Mheshimiwa Speaker, asante kwa kunipa nafasi hii ili niweze kumuuliza Mheshimiwa Murkomen swali. Mheshimiwa Speaker, jumba letu la Seneti ni jumba ambalo zinahifadhi kumbukumbu na pia rekodi za kila jambo ambayo tunafanya hapa. Nikimnukuu Mheshimiwa Murkomen, wakati alipokuja hapa alisema kwamba barabara kutoka Ngong mpaka Suswa contractor atakwenda kule kwa wiki 2. Kwa sasa Mheshimiwa Speaker, imekuwa miezi 7 tangu Mheshimiwa Murkomen alipokuwa hapa. Je, kweli ikiwa kumbukumbu ile ambaye itahifadhiwa katika jumba letu la Seneti ni ile ya kusema ya kwamba contractor atakwenda katika wiki 2, na mpaka sasa hii barabara ambaye ni kilomita 6 peke yake imebaki iweze kumalizika, sehemu kidogo daraja, sehemu kidogo mahali ambapo kuna mawe ambayo inatakiwa iondolewe, ili tuwe tupate njia nyingine ambayo watu ambao wanayosafiri kwenda south kusini, ambao wanayekwenda Narok, wanayekwenda Migori, wanayekwenda Kisumu wanaweza kutumia. Mheshimiwa Speaker, ningemuomba
malizia swali yako.
Ningemuomba
moja kwa moja
Mheshimiwa Murkomen akikumbuka kwamba akisimama hapa jumba hili zina kumbukumbu, aweze kutueleza ukweli ya kwamba hii barabara ya Suswa Ngong itamalizika lini.
Samahani Senator Redama, kuna hoja ya nidhamu kutoka kwa Senator wa Garissa.
Unajua Kiswahili wewe?
Asante Bwana Speaker. Umesikia Bwana Speaker mwenzangu akiuliza kama najua Kiswahili. Kwani anamaanisha mimi si Mkenya? Swali la Bwana Speaker, Bwana hoja si swali. Hoja yangu Bwana Speaker, nimemsikia akiongea vizuri sana hapa. Lakini anataka afafanue na tueleze kwa Kiswahili wiki 2 ni nini? Anamaanisha nini? Hiyo ndio swali yangu.
Rendama Rekina, eleza mawiki 2.
Mheshimiwa Speaker, mwenzangu Mheshimiwa Senator Abdul ni mchungaji kama mimi Swahili ilikuja na meli ama na nini, what do you call this train na reli. So mimi sitaki kupoteza swali langu Mheshimiwa Speaker, swali langu ni swali nyeti sana.
Kwa sasa uliza swali moja kwa moja.
Swali yangu nimeuliza moja kwa moja. Asante Mheshimiwa Speaker kwa kunilinda. Mheshimiwa Murkomen alipokuja hapa alitueleza kwamba mkandarasi ataingia katika ile barabara kwa wiki 2. Je, hii kweli ni ungwana? Mpaka sasa miezi 7 hii barabara ambaye ni kilomita 6 peke yake.
Waziri jibu hilo swali.
Mheshimiwa Speaker, ni kweli kwamba nilisema kwa muda wa wiki 2 tutakuwa na mwanakandarasi atakuwa amerejea kufanya ile kazi ya barabara ya Suswa kwenda Ngong ama Ngong kwenda Suswa. Mheshimiwa Speaker, kwa sababu ambazo nimeeleza hapo awali kulingana inahusiana na mambo ya kifedha na aswa mambo ya bajeti. Mheshimiwa Speaker, hatukuweza kumrudisha ama kumrejesha ule mwanakandarasi arudi barabarani kwa sababu yeye alisema kwamba kati ya pesa ambazo hatujalipa ambayo ni milioni 600 alihitaji zaidi ya yale ambayo yaliwekwa kwa bajeti. Mheshimiwa Spika, ilitubidi tuendelee na mazungumzo na tuna imani ya kwamba hivi karibuni huyo contractor atarejea barabarani. Ninajichunga sana kwa sababu sitaki kurudia kusema wiki mbili, kwa sababu siku hiyo alikuwa amekubali kurudi kwa wiki mbili, lakini pia tulipatwa na shida ya kuisha wakati wa kandarasi, na sasa tumeandikishana pamoja na contractor na ataweza kurudi barabarani. Bwana Spika, nitumie nafasi hii kupongeza Mheshimiwa Ole Kina kwa sababu amekaa kitete kwa hii barabara na yeye amekataa kabisa. Mr. Speaker, amekataa kabisa Mr. Speaker.
No. The CS
na yeye amekwama kwa hii barabara tangu tukiwa mashinani na yeye na tukiwa hapa kwa bunge. Ninampongeza kwa sababu anaendelea kushikilia kusukuma barabara hiyo, lakini na muomba atupatie muda kidogo tu tutafute hiyo hela, alafu tuweze tukarudisha huyo contractor. Na sio yeye peke yake, Senator wa Kisii, Senator wa Nyamira na viongozi kutoka sehemu hiyo na Bomet, Senator wa Bomet wamekuwa wakinisukuma kuhakikisha kwamba hiyo barabara inaweza kufunguliwa, kwa sababu ile ya Maimayu inawaletea shida kubwa sana. Asante sana.
Senator Bugwa Mugai.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like the Cabinet Secretary to tell this House what became of the road maintenance levy which used to go to the counties, and what will happen, what happens to the pending bills which were awarded for the contracts at the road maintenance levy by the counties, and the contractors have never been paid because the program is like suspended or something. Thank you.
Well, sorry, before the CS, what is your point of order, Senator Kenywa?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your decision of two senators from this side and two senators from that side, Mr. Speaker, I am not challenging your decision, but it's obvious we are the majority, Mr. Speaker. We should be given 3 senators and 2 senators from the other side, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Proceed, Senator Bugwa. Okay, then respond, CS.
Mr. Speaker, it is not possible that any county incurred money under the road maintenance levy beyond a given financial year. Road maintenance levy is only capped for that financial year. So for the year that the county was given, that is the year they spent. The problem is that because it is not for construction, it's for maintenance. And maintenance is based on annual allocation. So it's not possible that there is a county that did the same. It would only have been possible if it was development money. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next is Senator Okech.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
In exactly 2 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my supplementary question is actually very direct on the question that was asked the CS on what measures are in place to ensure that proper maintenance of roads in sugarcane growing regions are well maintained, and whether there is any plans to actually compensate all people affected during those road accidents. And Bwana CS, I know that you did indicate when you were
one question, candidate.
No, I was referring to the question. So my question is only one, that the CS had actually talked about, the fact that there is no much money to be able to maintain these roads. I just wanted the CS to put a case for prioritization, to tell this House whether there's priority in terms of those roads, particularly the road in Migori, that comes from Migori town, coming all the way to Kisii, because that road, in particular, Bwana CS, has got no proper signages, has got no proper markings, and you can remember, CS, that last year, it led to 2 serious accidents in town, involving not only the sugarcane trucks, but also other trucks that rammed into the people in town because of lack of those demarcations on bumps, as well as proper signages on that particular road, Migori Kisii Road. is a major concern, and whether those people are going to be compensated, the people in those accidents can be compensated in Migori.
Okay,
thank you, CS.
CS.
The Speaker, on the maintenance, I had addressed that issue on the sugarcane growing areas, very important sector. The Speaker, I think when we come with that policy that I said earlier of increasing the allocation, can you imagine that only 60 billion is chasing all the roads, Kena, Kura, and Kera? We will then be able to upscale our activities in terms of maintenance of the roads. Meanwhile, what is available now, we are using them. But also, because county collects cess from the sugar factories and farmers and all that, I think it's important also to put them under pressure to make sure that the other roads are maintained within the county. Senator Eddy is passionate about this issue, and he has discussed with me, Mr. Speaker, several occasions. I think what we need to do is to upscale also the civic education related to issues, training and awareness for the owners and the tractor owners and the company owners. If the companies took responsibility for safety measures, not leave it to NTSA or to leave to the ministry, so that safety is an important. Let me give you an example. After Sachangwan accident, most of the oil marketing companies took responsibility, including establishing vehicular telematics in their offices, and they're able to monitor their trucks from Mombasa to the border. And you've seen there's a major reduction in road accidents involving oil tankers. There's also some companies like Bamburu Cement. They have clear vehicular telematics. Their lorries are rarely involved in accidents because they monitor them. I wish the sugar companies should be able also, and the sugar growing, cooperatives, should be able to put also safety as a very important factor in terms of measure on their doing what they do. Unfortunately, we don't have compensation mechanism for road accidents in the country, except for the claims through insurance.
I can see Senator Ezena, your intervention. What, do you have a point of order? What is it?
No, Mr. Speaker, it's not a point of order. It's a point of information.
Who are you informing?
The Honorable CS, please.
Okay, proceed and inform me.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First of all, I'd like to appreciate the Honorable CS for listening to us and responding on the issue of Maralal Baragoi Road. If you remember correctly, I spoke about the issue to you before even you were sworn in, and I told you that the best thing you can do for Samburu is give us at least 2 roads, if not 1. And Honorable CS, the last time we had a meeting on the very dire insecurity issue in Samburu with the Minister for the CS for Interior, Honorable Kindiki, I am actually the one who raised the issue and requested for a road and for the 2 of you to work in partnership as a matter of urgency, dire urgency. Because I'm very sure there is a lot of issues across the country, like you have spoken about on roads. And
the information that you want to pass, that the road is still...
Honorable Speaker, no. I just want the CS to at least treat our case and situation as a matter of urgency, because it is involving loss of lives in Samburu County, and that is the same thing that led me from opposition, a leader from opposition, to go and seek the president recently in Osain in Kilgoris for the same road to be tarmacked. So for me as a pastoralist to swallow my pride and beg the president for a road, I implore the CS as a fellow pastoralist to treat that matter with the urgency and seriousness it deserves. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
You know, Senator Zena, it's only that you are representing a very critical constituency called the youth. So I just give you time to empower you and other youth
Who is the youth?
Otherwise, I could have disconnected him, but I gave you. No.
Thank you.
Yes, sure. So, CS, I think it's just to note that, but you can just take 30 seconds, can you? Yeah.
It is true what Senator Zena is saying. She spoke to me about this road also. And it's also true that even before the funeral, we met somewhere and he spoke to me about the same road. And so it is also true, Mr. Speaker, that she spoke in the meeting to the president. It is not true that she has to be in government for her to represent the people of Samburu or Kenya. Mr. Speaker, the position I hold is apolitical, and the responsibility of the state and government is to serve all Kenyans regardless of their political affiliations. So I do not wish the senator to be apologetic when she's raising issues that are affecting Samburu. But also I want to challenge the senator that she's not representing Samburu. She's representing all the youth of the Republic in this chamber, and a pain anywhere in the country should be a pain, any part of the country, it should be a pain in the entire nation. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, CS, Honorable Senators. Because of the next 1 hour we listen to the CS education, I therefore kindly request that whoever has any other question, the CS is available, just do the normal questions, and then the CS will come back again to answer the supplementary questions from the senators. So kindly, for the respect of the other CS who has been here since morning, Honorable CS Loans and Transport, thank you very much for appearing before the Senate, and continue appearing many times. You see, the screen is full because many senators have a lot of questions, especially on loan matters. Thank you very much. Kwaheri.
Thank you.
So, kindly usher in the next CS. Honorable Senators, the Senate is still in session. Them to usher in the CS education. Sergeant Adams. Honourable Senators, we have the CS Education appearing before the Senate to answer several questions from different senators. And therefore, I want to welcome you to the Senate, CS Education, Bwana Mashogu, Ezekiel. We have a few questions and I want to start with the Senator for Nairobi City County.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. This is the question to the Cabinet Secretary.
Sorry, let me give some guidance. I will call all the questions to be asked at the same time, and then we can give a few senators for interventions. So proceed.
Most appreciated, Speaker. This is the question to the Cabinet Secretary for Education. Could the Cabinet Secretary confirm that Visa Usual Primary School in Westlands constituency, Nairobi, standing on LR number 209/5996, was categorized by the Ministry of Education as a public school in 1997? Secondly, Mr. Speaker, could the Cabinet Secretary provide the history of ownership of a said land and explain what the government is doing to settle the land dispute tussle, the land ownership tussle between the school and a private developer laying claim to the land? Finally, Mr. Speaker, let the CS for Education tell us what the fate of the 2,500 learners of the Visa Usual Primary School is in light of impending eviction by the private developer. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The other two questions from Senator Morango, Senator for Kirinyaga County. Senator Girori Roberts approached the chair that she has been requested to ask the questions on behalf of the Kirinyaga County Senator. Proceed and ask the two questions simultaneously.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Question number 006 by the Senator for Kirinyaga County. Could the Cabinet Secretary indicate the staffing levels at Kirinyaga University, indicating the number of academic, administrative, and support staff? B, what proportion of each cadre of staff in the university is from the local community? And could the Cabinet Secretary clarify whether there is a policy in place requiring universities to employ a fixed quota of staff from the local community? And C, what measures has the government put in place to ensure that institutions of higher learning involve the local community in their operations? Question number 024 by Senator from Kirinyaga County, James Murango. A, are there plans by the government to establish a national polytechnic or technical training institution in Kirinyaga County? And if so, could the Cabinet Secretary clarify whether budgetary allocation for the same will be made in the financial year 2024-2025? B, what initiative has the government taken to establish at least one national polytechnic or technical training institute in all 47 counties? Thank you.
The other questions from Senator Hedy. I cannot see him around. And Senator for Kakamega County. And Senator for Tharaka-Nithi. These three senators are not, cannot see them around or any other instructions from them. Let the CS respond to the questions by Senator Sifuna and Senator Morango. I'm told Senator Boni wrote a letter that he is not around. So, and Senator Ketch, maybe you come back and ask his question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir, and the honorable members for according me this opportunity to respond to the number of questions raised by the Senate. I will start with a question from the Senator Nairobi County, which is about this particular school. And I want to state that the FISA Oswald Primary School was registered as a public school by the Ministry of Education, filed a registration certificate number PE/572/97 dated 12th August 1997. Again, the school was registered again to align with the status of the County Education Board on the 6th December 2016. Copies of the registration have been provided herewith, and in 2023, Honorable Speaker, the school was also approved to host the junior school. Currently, the school has a total enrollment of 2,535 runners, comprising 1,273 boys and 1,262 girls. They had 91 runners in the ECD, 2,347 runners in primary school, and 742 runners in the junior school. There are 45 teachers employed by the Teachers Service Commission and 45 staff employed by the Board of Management and the Nairobi City County Government. The school serves about 1,800 parents and guardians. Honorable Speaker, the land on which the school stands, that is error number 209/5996, was granted by the Government of Kenya to the FISA Oswald Community Nairobi Registered Trustees way back in 1954. The land was granted for 99 years, effective 1954. The conditions of the grant include that the land shall be used for the construction of a school, and that there is a terminate if the school ceases to operate as such, that is, only for purposes of the school. The school initially ran as an all-Asian school before runners from other races were admitted in the year after independence, specifically starting from 1969. All along, Mr. Speaker, the school was run with teachers employed by the Teachers Service Commission on the understanding, of course, that this is a public school, and it also received monetary support under the free primary school program. However, the school buildings, on the other hand, were put up by the trustees. The question of whether the school is public or private, therefore, has been the subject of various court cases, and we have had protracted court cases for a number of years now, a total number of these cases being 5, which I'm sure the Honorable Senator from Nairobi is aware. The first one, Honorable Speaker, is Nairobi High Court Civil Case number 1474 of 2005, where the FISA Oswald community sued the then City Council of Nairobi. And they went to court alleging that the land on which the primary school operates since 1954 was built using the community resources, and therefore the City Council had taken it over and converted it into a public primary school without law of authority. They there sought vacant possession of the property, and the court found, ruled in their favor as per the attached judgment, which we have been able to attach. However, the status quo remained. The second case was Nairobi High Court Constitutional Petition number 262 of 2013, where again it was the community, the FISA Oswald community, registered trustees, versus the Attorney General, Commission of Grants, and the Cabinet Secretary Education then. and by letter dated 4th January 2013, the Commission of Lands wrote the trustees giving them 6 months notice to surrender the subjected land, and the trustees following that filed a case against the Commission of Lands, notice saying they violated their constitutional right to property and fair administrative action. On the 28th March 2014, the court dismissed the case as per their charged judgment. The court found that the school had been built on a public land since registration, having received teachers from the Teacher Service Commission, and the funding was provided under the free primary education program. A copy of the judgment is attached, Honorable Speaker. Again, following that, there was a Nairobi Court of Appeal Civil Appeal number 126 of 2014, where the Fisa Oswald community again versus the Attorney General, Commission of Lands, and the Cabinet Secretary Education. Again, this particular appeal judgment was issued on the 24th February 2019, and it was found to be in favor of the trustees. The court affirmed their rights over the land and held that there was no basis for the Commission of Lands to require the trustees to surrender their land. The Court of Appeal reasoned that the conditions in the grant did not categorize the school that was to be constructed, whether it was for public use or for private use. Following that, case number 4 now, the matter was taken to Supreme Court under application number 20E043 of 2020. The Board of Management and the Fisa Oswald Primary School versus Fisa Oswald Community, and then the Attorney General and the Minister for Education. And during that particular application, the School Board of Management applied for leave from the Supreme Court to appeal against the decision of 22nd February 2019 by the Court of Appeal. In its ruling, issued on 17th February 2022, the Supreme Court found that the fate of a public school is a matter of public interest, and that the Board of Management should be allowed to ventilate the matter in a proper forum. The Supreme Court directed the school Board of Management to institute its claim at the Environment and Lands Court. Following that, a case was filed, Nairobi ELC number E176 of 2022. The Board of Management again versus these trustees, and the case wanted a declaration that indeed the school is a public primary school, and the land in which it sits is public land for the public purpose of operating a school. The Minister of Education, in conjunction with the Attorney General, filed a replying affidavit in support of the school's case. In the meantime, the school also applied for conservative orders, which to inject the trustees from interfering with the management of the school. This application was however dismissed by the court on 24th November 2022, but the original main application is still pending in the court. Honorable Speaker, therefore, the ministry is actually working on this matter with the Attorney General and the Board of Management to safeguard and maintain the position that this particular school is a public school, and the land being occupied there is for public purpose and not for private purpose as such. So our position is clear on that we will still continue fighting this matter in court until the true position is maintained that this is land for public use and that this is a public school. So the 2,500 students are still going on in this particular school. It has not come to a time where, of course, we can say that there are any such eviction orders which can be able to take effect. And we are still maintaining that and fighting the matter in court. I so submit, Honorable Speaker, sir.
Proceed with the other questions. Give the answers to the responses.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. The Kirinyaga issue is that Kirinyaga University is a public university that was just...
If possible, you can just summarize the...
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. That's better. Kirinyaga University is a chartered public university since 2016, and the total number of staff at this particular university is 284, Honorable Speaker, and out of these 284, 69 are from the local community, that is Kirinyaga County, whereas 215 are from other counties across the country. The total number of support staff is 48. Out of this, 30 are from the local community, that is Kirinyaga, which represents 62.5%. The total number of clerical and administrative staff is 116, and out of this, 27 are from the local community, that is Kirinyaga, and that represents 23.27%. The total number of academic staff is 120, and out of this, Honorable Speaker, 12 are from the local community, which again translates into 10%. I have shown a schedule, which a table there, which is indicating clearly on this particular distribution. The second part of the question, I would like to state that the University Act is very clear that the responsibility of employing any staff of a university is given to the University Council, and of course we are aware that the Constitution of Kenya, Article 232, provides that values and the principles of public service, particularly when it comes to matters recruitment, we must take into consideration the following factors. One is fair competition and merit as the basis of appointment and promotion. Again, it must be representative of Kenya's diverse communities, as well as affording adequate and equal opportunities for appointment, training and advancement at all levels. So again, when you come to Section 7 of the National Cohesion and Integration Act, Honorable Speaker, it also reinforces these provisions of the Constitution, which clearly states that we must seek to represent the diversity of the people of Kenya in the employment of staff, and that no public establishment shall have more than 1/3 of its staff from the same ethnic community. So a university being a state corporation bound by all these public sector rules on recruitment and employment of staff, we are also ensuring that we comply as much as possible as this particular one is concerned. There is no given policy really apart from the rules that have been able to state, which states that the employment must be of a fixed quota from the local community. But generally, the lower cadre, which is from grade 2 to grade 8, which comprises of the support staff and the junior administrative staff, they normally originate from the locality of the university. And this is not only for Kirinyaga University, but it's a pattern that we have all over other public universities. Particularly here, you can see that the lower staff, 62.5% originate from the local community, which is Kirinyaga County. The impact to the local community is the other set of the question. I would like to state that the local community is very important in the context that it is within that particular community that the university operates, and of course, it is that particular community which has to create a conducive environment for the university, and in particular, the security and the safety of the students, even as they go out of campus once after a while. We rely also on the local community, and therefore their support is very critical, Honorable Speaker. It is also, of course, very clear that universities provide employment opportunities, and in the cadre that I have said, the rural cadre, it is the local community that is able to benefit, and even when there are casual employment opportunities, the members of the local community, particularly when we are having any construction sites within universities, which, as you are aware, have been quite a number, and even university farms, we engage casual employees from the local community. As well, the universities also impact very positively on the local communities because they offer business opportunities such as accommodation, hostels for university students and staff, and also even the normal supplies to the university are also done by the communities. From the policy standpoint, Honorable Speaker, we always encourage universities to engage in research and also engage in community outreach, such that the findings of any research done can be of impact to the surrounding and the local community. If you go, for example, to the University of Dedan Kimathi, you can see the kind of engagement they have done in matters coffee growing and the great impact that it has had on the surrounding communities. So in that particular question, I think we have covered all the areas. I would like to go to the other section also on Kirinyaga. Yeah, the other one, Honorable Speaker, is about what branch government has to establish a national polytechnic in Kirinyaga. And I would like to state that, as we are all aware, in 2016, the government came up with a policy of establishing at least one national polytechnic in every county, and this was really focusing on the constitutional principles of equity, regional balance, and devolution of services. Alongside this, there was also a sub-policy of establishing at least one TVET institution in each constituency in all our 290 constituencies. As of now, with effect from 2016, immediately there were parameters, there was a clear criteria given on what and which TVET institution will be able to qualify for a national polytechnic status. Among the criteria that we followed was that the acreage must be a minimum of 50 acres, and they must have a title for that, and that they must have accreditation from TVETA for the programs that they offer must be approved by TVETA, and that it must also be situated in a high potential area where there is demand for TVET courses. And also, of course, once we establish a national polytechnic, there must be a request from the local stakeholders for establishment of such a national polytechnic. For the case of Kirinyaga, Honorable Speaker, we have three TTIs. One is Kirinyaga Central, which is in the Kirinyaga Central constituency, where we have only 93 trainees. The next one we have is in Moya constituency, the Moya TTI, which has 232 trainees. The third one we have is India TTI, and it has only 593 trainees. And the one which is undergoing construction is the Gichugu TTI, which is 80% complete. And out of these 4, we have not as yet received any such application for resettlement so that we can be able to undertake the necessary process that TVET undertakes in order for it to be known whether it qualifies for a national polytechnic or it doesn't. Last year, Honorable Speaker, the year 2023, apart from the 8 that were started way back in 2016, we did again establish 13 more national polytechnics. So in total, we have now, I think, 24 national polytechnics in 22 counties, and there are 25 counties which are yet to apply and have national polytechnics. As far as TTIs are concerned, we have 237 TTIs in our 237 constituencies. We have 52 to go, and in this particular financial year, we were able to get funds to construct 15. So after this financial year again, we will remain with 37 because progressively as we get funds, we want to build one in each and every constituency. Honorable Speaker, I so submit, sir.
Okay, let's get the other question from Senator Hedy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good afternoon to CS. Pleasure to have you here. My question, Mr. Speaker, is an assessment of what is going on with the CBC. And therefore, I will start with asking the Minister about what progress has the government made in putting up necessary infrastructure, including classrooms, libraries, and laboratories in readiness for the enrollment of the first cohort of the competency-based curriculum, that is CBC, class to join grade 9. And could the Cabinet Secretary, Mr. Speaker, confirm whether the progress aligns with the originally set timelines that we all know as a country, and how is the government actively promoting awareness of the CBC curriculum? And could also the Cabinet Secretary, in that clarification, help us understand whether the government undertakes consultations on curriculum review with other key stakeholders, and of interest for us, Mr. Speaker, would be parents, teachers, and publishers. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, if the Cabinet Secretary would be kind enough to also provide an update on the implementation of the recommendations of the Presidential Working Party on education reform, because that particular task force is had some very interesting timelines that we don't know that will be achieved before our children join grade 9. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members. As you are aware, Honorable Senator Hedy, junior schools across the country currently have an enrollment of 2,279,052 runners in grades 7 and 8. Of course, as we know, in the old system of 844, we had classrooms in standard 7 and 8, which as of now, those ones have transitioned to senior school, which is our secondary schools. So as far as grade 7 and 8 are concerned, we don't have a problem as far as classrooms are concerned. The Ministry has also done a needs assessment and determined that we have a shortage of 15,021 classrooms for those who will be transitioning into grade 9 next year, the year 2025. We have tabulated the number of classrooms we require countrywide as per county, and have attached the table there for members to be able to confirm. Honorable Speaker, the government has also taken proactive steps to ensure that the infrastructure requirement for 2025 is in place. And for that particular purpose, the government has been able to allocate a conditional grant of 3.39 billion to the National Government Constituent Development Fund, which is being distributed across the constituencies, of course, taking into consideration the needs assessment which we have done covering the entire country. The CDF, we have agreed, is also supposed to match this funding from their allocation, such that once we do one classroom using these funds, they will also be able to do another one classroom. Out of this, we expect that we should be able to do 6,000 integrated resource centers for our junior school. Additionally, we have engaged World Bank, Honorable Speaker, and we have an allocation of 9 billion, money which we are also using to ensure that we construct another 9,000 classrooms, which in total will make 15,000. So we are working hard this particular year in order to make sure that the necessary required infrastructural development in our schools is done in readiness for admission of the grade 9, which will be domiciled in the existing primary schools. And I want to emphasize on that point, because grade 9 will be in the existing primary schools. They are not going to senior school. Senior school, they will be able to go after grade 9. And promoting awareness, we have taken a lot of steps to ensure that we promote awareness on the CPC system through an inclusive and participatory process. One such process, Honorable Speaker, was undertaken way back in 2019, but before then, we know that we are undertaking our first implementation of CPC since 2017, where we have 2 years pre-primary, 6 years in primary, 3 years in junior school, 3 years in senior school, and 3 years in university. That is the kind of structure we have, and the implementation of this particular structure, Honorable Speaker, was based on sessional paper number 1 of 2019, which was a policy framework for reforming education and training for sustainable development in Kenya. The same sessional paper was presented in Parliament, the last Parliament. It was debated and approved, and it is on the basis of that particular policy paper, which was approved in Parliament, that we have that particular structure in place. We have also employed various other methods in order to create awareness, such as public forums, press releases, circulars, and visual statements to convey information on key issues in CPC, such as the domiciling of junior school, and also the guidelines for implementation of the junior school. We did our various public forums, and including the rationalization of the running areas, because we have been able to reduce the running areas as recommended by KICD in almost each and every level. The other state agencies which are very much involved in...
Sorry for interrupting you, but I think Senator Andy seems like he's satisfied with your response. Yeah, so if you can summarize.
Yeah, thank you.
So that
Thank you. The Presidential Working Party.
2-3 minutes to ask the supplementary question.
Yeah, the Presidential Working Party, if I can summarize on this.
Senator Eddie, because the response is with you, if you are satisfied with the response from the CS, then we can save some minutes for the other senators. Are you? He's satisfied. So, Honorable CS, the Senator is happy with your response already.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to save you some time, so that I can give a few senators to ask their supplementary question. Let me start with your senator for Kisii County.
Thank you, CS. Mr. Speaker, this is actually for me the first time that I have been in this house when the CS is giving an answer, and you know he comes from my county, so I'm happy to see him. CS, I wanted to ask you, because if you look at all the technical vocational training institutes which are actually under your ministry, they seem to be having a problem, and that is most of these TVETs are being managed and run by the county governments. And yet there is supposed to be an interface between them and whatever that the county governments are doing. The question I wanted to bring on forth to you is that you know that primary schools are given bursary fundings, secondary schools and even university students, and the problem is that students who go to technical vocational training institutes are actually supposed to be getting bursaries, but we do not have those lists. I, as a senator of Kisii County, Waziri, I don't know whether I should expect the county government to pay their fees, or their bursaries, or whether it is your ministry that is supposed to do that. Number two,
I have only one supplementary question to ask.
Just one more, sir.
Senator Mofaya asked a question I skipped in my mind.
Just one more. It won't even take 20 seconds.
Please.
The question, the last one I would ask is the way you have given conditional grants to CDF, and this is money that is going into CDF construction projects in primary schools and secondary schools. What I would like the CS is, are you also considering the possibility that we can actually avail funds for the technical vocational training institutes which are under county government, so that they can also get conditional grants, because some of these TVETs don't even have furniture, they don't have any equipment, so that then they can be useful pertaining to their relationship with the KK government's policy and agenda of introducing industrial parks, because I believe the children from the technical vocational training institutes are the ones who should be recruited from the technical vocational institutes, so that they can go and work in the industrial parks, because the two are related. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Before you answer, Senator Mofaya, Mwenda Kataya, ask your question.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I am seeking to know from the minister whether the county cabinet secretary state when the government will distribute 9 billion allocated to Kamutwandu Primary School in Gatunga Ward in the Rakaniri County for infrastructure development, being the balance of 10 billion, which was allocated to the school in the financial year 2019-2020. At the same time, Honorable Speaker, the Cabinet Secretary could he explain the reason for the delay in the disbursement of the 9 billion to the school, because it has taken quite a lot of time before this money was distributed to the school.
Answer the two questions.
Yeah, thank you, the Honorable Speaker, sir. To start with the question from the Honorable Senator from my county, Kisii, is that we have two categories here. One that is under national government, which is technical training institutes, which are under national government, which I said the government policy is to ensure that we establish one in each and every constituency, and up to now we have 238 so far established. We have 52 to go, and this particular financial year we have a budgetary allocation to do 15 of them, and therefore we will be able to remain with 37. And out of this, it is government which provides funds, like for each of the 15 we have been provided with 52 million, and the constituencies are also supposed to give 10 million, so that the total cost of each and every one of them will be 62 million, not more than that. For these ones, again, the students going into these particular colleges, the government gives capitation based on the numbers, based on the enrollment. We give capitation to the students joining these particular TTI colleges. And again, even the students also enjoy getting loans from Higher Loans Education Board. They also enjoy special grants which the government gives. For vocational training centers, which is clearly spelled out in our Constitution, Schedule 4, which of course separates functions of national government from county government. This is the preserve and responsibility of our county governments. And before 2021, Honorable Speaker, national government, as you are aware, used to give a conditional grant to the counties for purposes of these vocational training centers to cater for equipment in these particular vocational training centers. But following arguments and I think consideration between the national government and the county governments requested for conversion of this conditional grant of 2 billion to an equalization fund. Ever since that time, unfortunately, the money is given out by national government as a equalization fund, and it is not used purposely and strictly for purposes of vocational training centers, and some of them are in a pathetic situation. We are in a discussion with the county governments through the Committee of Education, Governor's Committee on Education and the Ministry of Education, what we can be able to do in order to have these particular vocational training centers serve the purpose for which they were intended to serve, because if we also don't get it right here, the kind of technical staff, skilled people with the kind of competencies we require at that particular level, it will be quite a challenge. So we are aware of the problem with the vocational training centers. We don't extend any capitation from national government to these ones because it is the county governments which are supposed to be responsible. So there is that problem which we will hopefully be able to sort out in the near future. The question from the senator from Tharaka Nithi about the primary school, yes, I'm aware, and I'm sorry that this was brought to my notice. We did not have it actually in the schedule of those that were pending, because we would have done something, but I've seen it has been pending since 2019, 2020. It is only in the year 2020-2021 financial year that an allocation of 1 million was made to this particular primary school, and therefore there is a balance of 9 million. And what I have, Honorable Speaker, so now to be able to give to the entire country, and of course we must make sure that the money is equitably spread to all the schools in all the countries, all the counties in Kenya, is only 102 million to give to the various areas, because I must ensure that there is equity, and each and every county within the country, the 47 counties must be covered. So I have allocated you, because you can see the amount we have, the resources have been limited. So progressively we will be allocating depending on what we have. And the Honorable Speaker, this year I will have allocated 2 million to go to that particular school. And my good friend from Tharaka Nithi, by next week, if you pass through my office, you will be able to get confirmation that the money has actually been deposited in the school account. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, sir.
Okay. Chair Education.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have, and I beg that you allow me to kindly ask Chair Education to place 2 questions to the CS. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The first question relates to what Senator Eddy has asked, and this is about preparation, Mr. Speaker, on the admission to grade 9, which the CS has handled very well. But my question to the CS is, What arrangements are there, even as we gear towards 2026, when we are going to admit the first lot in senior secondary school, that is grade 10. And why I ask these, or most specifically, for the CS to let the House know, Mr. Speaker, because we know that there are going to be 3 pathways in secondary schools as we know them today. There'll be STEM, there'll be arts and sports, and there'll be, if I'm not wrong, languages and business. So the clarification that I'm seeking, Mr. Speaker, is will we have specific schools offering specific pathways, or all schools at grade 10 will offer all the 3 pathways? That is my first question, Mr. Speaker. Number 2, and which concerns me as Chair Education, because people keep calling us, is from, I think, from an appearance by the PS Basic Education at the National Assembly, where he said that government or the ministry is being forced to reduce capitation to secondary school students, which has stood at over 22,000 some hundreds, Mr. Speaker. And now the PS reported that because of the growing numbers of students in secondary schools, that the ministry has been forced to reduce these to 17,000 Kenya shillings for every student. So my question then would be, because we know that the allocation to the Ministry of Education actually was the highest this year, that is budgetary allocation, are there no internal mechanisms of seeing to it that we allocate more to capitation from whatever has been allocated, so that students continue receiving the 22,000 Kenya shillings, if not more? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Let's get another question from Senator Oburu. Oburu Odinga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I don't admire the CS in the position in which he is, because it is a very, very hot seat, Mr. Speaker. And I have 2 very quick questions, Mr. Speaker.
And because of time, more sensitive.
Mr. Speaker, on the Visa Oswald question brought by Honorable Sifuna, it appears the ministry has been losing successive cases to the Visa Oswald community, one after another. And now they have even gone to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court referred them to some environmental courts, and Mr. Speaker, they have lost again. Mr. Speaker, why put the 2,000 students in jeopardy? Why does the ministry consider, if you can't defeat them, join them? Why can't you consider, because that trustee is not individual, it is not private, it is for the community, that community called the Oswald community. Why don't you negotiate with them so that the school is managed by the public, by the ministry, in perpetuity, and they continue to be there calling themselves trustees, and the students are not jeopardized? Why don't you consider that option? Because we know schools where that happens, Mr. Speaker. If you allow me, Mr. Speaker, just on another question altogether, on the one of polytechnic, of TTCs.
It's a direct question. So
direct, Mr. Speaker. This is a direct question. What kind of representation do you have? Why do you keep on losing cases? Because I have a TTC in my own constituency, Bondo, where it was so clear I'm the one who paid for land, 10 acres for that TTC, and it was lost. They lost the case. What kind of representation do you really have legally for yourself? Why do you keep on losing such cases? And how many faculties are supposed to be in a TTC or a TTI? You call it TTI. In a TTI, how many faculties are you supposed to have? Because that one we have was supposed to have 5, and we only have building and civil engineering only. The others, like the the others which were to be there are not mechanical, electrical, and all the others. There were supposed to be 5, and none of them is there. How many are supposed to be there in a TTI?
Senator Chute.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mine will be a very quick one. Under Article 43(1)(f) says that every person has the right to education. In Marsabit County, Northern constituency, there is a problem amongst the Muslim community and the board of Northern School on wearing of hijab. Is the minister aware that that problem, which has occurred in Northern, if yes, how is he going to solve that problem? Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Next is Senator Milaj. Yes. Milaj.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Could the CS provide the current status of the recognition of prior learning RPL program that is supposed to identify, assess, and certify skills that were learned in informal sector? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Azena.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I just want to also ask if the CS can tell the House if he's aware that several schools have been closed in Samburu County due to insecurity, and if there are any emergency funds that have been set by the by his ministry to ensure that the schools in Samburu resume operation, and schools in other parts of the country where insecurity has led to closure of schools and displacements of students. Lastly, since the Minister of Roads is visiting Samburu on 22nd, I would also like to know that if the CS for Education has put among his plans a day to visit these affected areas in Samburu County to ascertain the level of displacement by insecurity of schools. Because, Mr. Speaker, about 5 schools and several ECDs are closed as we speak. Thank you.
Senator Ndamo. That's the last one, then you can answer.
Asante Bwana Speaker. Bwana Speaker, ningependa kupata majibu kwa Mheshimiwa Waziri wa Elimu kuhusiana na katiba ya Kenya makala ya 189, ushirikiano kati ya serikali za ugatuzi na serikali ya taifa imeelezewa vile ambavyo wanaweza shirikiana. Mheshimiwa Spika, ratiba ya 4 sehemu ya 16 pia imegawa zile jukumu za serikali kuu na serikali ya ugatuzi. Ningependa kuelewa kutoka kwa waziri ni kwamba imekuwaje shule za sekondaria na pia shule za msingi kwa sasa zinajengwa na serikali za ugatuzi. Imekuwaje kuwa kwamba zile madarasa ya ECD ama ya kiwango kidogo ya chini sana hazijengwi kabisa na serikali za ugatuzi, na serikali kuu haisumbuliwi na jambo hilo? Ningependa sana kujua ni vipi kama wako na ushirikiano ambao wameshirikiana kati ya serikali kuu na serikali ya ugatuzi, waweze kutueleza. Asante.
Thank you. In excesses of, because of time and the interest that I can see as this issue has generated, and the CS has some few minutes to answer the questions that you have asked, I will exercise standing order that the 4-2-way to extend this sitting for another 15 minutes. And then by 1:15 we should rise to close this session. So, Senator Romenen, ask your question briefly and direct to the point.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to ask the CS whether the schools that were destroyed and devastated by the bandits in Turkana County have been constructed.
So, CS, you have various questions. You can just sum up your response to all of them.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. The first question is from the Senator from Muranga, who is again my chair of the Education Committee. I would like to assure the House that all the necessary preparations, Honorable Speaker, for senior school, which will commence with effect from 2026, are in top gear. One, we have been able to look at the aspect of infrastructural development, and according to our assessment, because it will be 3 years, and even the number of classrooms and the apparatus we have in a number of our existing secondary schools is quite adequate, so they will be able to accommodate all our needs as far as infrastructural development is concerned. Again, Honorable Speaker, you can be able to confirm that this administration, ever since 2022, we have been able to put in place very good arrangements for teacher recruitment. Up to now, we have been able to recruit 56,750 teachers, right from primary to junior school all the way to senior school. And in order for us to be able to prepare these particular teachers to be properly equipped in matters of junior school and even senior school, we have undertaken a retooling, particularly on areas of pedagogy. We are also worked on the curriculum, not only for primary and junior school, but the KICD is also making the necessary preparation so that when we come to 2026, we should be able to have the curriculum in place. As rightly said, we will have 3 pathways. One is STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The other one is social sciences, commonly known as humanities. The other one is performing art, music, athletics. The purpose of having this, Honorable Speaker, is we are going to, like the years we went to school, you remember after Form 4, we used to have Form 5 and 6, where if you were good in sciences, or if you wanted to take a line in sciences, you were free to take that particular line, because we want to nurture talent. Not all of us can be talented in sciences, not all of us can be talented in humanities, and some of us are very good in athletics, in performing art, and we want to give and develop and nurture talent where it is identified that one is good in a certain area. We are kind of coming up with a plan, and we have come up with a sessional paper. The sessional paper will be discussed in the Parliament, but the many amendments that we have come up with emanating from the recommendations made by the Presidential Working Party. So it will have specific answers. There might be areas where we will have pure STEM. There might be areas where we might have broad mixture. A school is undertaking humanities and also undertaking pure sciences. But I don't want to preempt that particular debate, because I know the sessional paper, once it is discussed in Parliament, we should be able to specifically agree on which way to go. Concerning capitation, I think there was a question from the Honorable Senator of Kakamega, and in that particular question I've been able to indicate specifically where we are as far as matters capitation are concerned, and I want again to confirm that of course government is committed to this, because these are issues which are enshrined in the Constitution. Article 53(1)(b), we cannot run away from it. In basic, that is in primary and secondary, we will continue giving capitation. Of course, the amounts which are supposed to be given in primary is 1,420 per annum. In the junior school, we are supposed to give 15,040 per annum per year, and in the senior school, we are supposed to give 22,240. But for the last 6 years, because of the reducing allocations, if you see what I've given in that answer, from the year 2017-2018, the amount given was not exactly 22,000. It was, I think, 21. Progressively, as years have moved on, like last financial year, the amount we were able to give was 17,000 per annum. We are having discussions with National Treasury on this. The Cabinet has been able to direct accordingly, because allocations to education are based on real numbers. The enrollment of our students, whatever level they are, such that it is based on that we are supposed to get allocations. And I think we are putting up a good case, because we think once the National Treasury and the Parliament allocates adequate resources, meaning we restore the figures as given way back from 2018 at the 22,000 for senior school and these are the amounts for junior school, then our schools should not be able to undergo the kind of challenges that we are undergoing now. That is where we are, but moving forward, we are hoping that things will be better than they have been there before. The question from the Honorable Senator Odinga about losing cases, out of the 5 cases that we have had in court, Honorable Speaker, we were able to win 2 cases and we lost 3. You know, when you go to a court of law, sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. So we are putting up a very, very serious fight, and we are hopeful because, you know, when the ministry is taken to court, we also prepare the necessary required documents, and it is the Attorney General, as it were, who represents us in this particular area. So we are hoping that we are not going to let it go. Engagement with the local community members, you know, this particular school, before government came in and said no, parents will not be able to give an amount of money, it used to operate in a way, public school, government is giving everything, but there were individuals charging money, kind of school fees. Ever since the time we stopped this, that is when the problem came about, because we said they should not be able to charge parents because it's a public school like another. So that's why you see now the fight where they want to gain control of the school, where then it will be able to operate like a private school kind of. The faculties in the TTIs, it depends and varies from one TTI to another, but we are encouraging all our TTIs that particularly technical courses, building and civil engineering, electrical, all those automotive, mechatronics, and of course there are a few other business courses which also you find business, design and fashion, hospitality, you will find some doing agriculture. So it varies from one TTI to another, but we are encouraging that each and every TTI must have at least a minimum of 5 such faculties programs, and that is why government this last financial year was able to employ 1,300 trainers. This year we are in the process of hiring another 2,000 trainers so that our TTIs can be well equipped as far as teaching and other equipment are concerned. We are also acquiring equipment this year, 71 of them, for 71 TTIs, so that they can also be able to have equipment in order to undertake all the required programs in any given TTI. I'm not aware about a case concerning Pondo, that again, we lost that case. We have taken note of it, and I think we should be able to take it from there. Marsabit, I think the Honorable Senator knows that ever since my appointment I've been in Marsabit 3 times. We have been able to engage with the local leaders very serious around matters education, and we have been able to agree on the way to go, including I was the chief guest in Marsabit during the education day, attended by including the local members of parliament and the governor, and I think what we agreed to do on matters education so that we are able to improve the quality and the performance, we will be able to cooperate in order for us to be able to do that. Samburu County, I'm aware there have been those cases, particularly Baringo and Turkana, and because of that, you are aware that we were able to give funds to Turkana schools. Honorable Senator can confirm. And
just a minute, Honorable CS. What is your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, a very quick one. My question was about Notor on the issue of hijab wearing in Notor. There's a problem, and that is what
I would answer that one.
Thank you very much.
I would answer that one. So, Samburu, probably I require to know the specific names of schools which have been closed down because of acts of banditry, and in cooperation with my colleague in internal security, we should be able to work on that. And where we have been able to remedy the situation, like areas in Baringo and Turkana, we have taken steps of reopening those schools. So, Madam, I think we can engage so that you tell me the specific schools, and we see what mitigating factors we can be able to undertake in cooperation with other agencies in government, and any particular means of internal security, so that we have the schools reopened as soon as possible. Honorable Speaker, recognition for prior running, I'm happy to report this House that this is a policy which has been running somewhere, but we have been able to take it up. We were able to engage public participation. We also took it to cabinet. It was approved, and I'm rolling out that policy. The Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya will be the chief guest on Friday, and it will give an opportunity for many of our young people, because there are so many people who are qualified. They have the skills and the competencies of making anything, but they don't have certification. So we are also now on that, and we should be able to start giving that with effect from Friday when we are rolling out that particular policy. I'm aware about Marsabit. I've had a meeting because there are schools which were established by Catholic. There has not been any problem for many years, because those schools have been there for almost 20 years, if not more. And the Senator knows there was no problem. We had an isolated incident last year in one school, and I think there was a recurrence of the same this particular year. We have directed the local community, the Bishop of Catholic.
Honorable says we shouldn't be concluding.
So we have directed the local community to engage, and I hope they should be able to get an amicable solution in this. Finally, my friend and the neighbor from Narok, is that yes, we are distinct two levels of government, but we complement each other. And that is why I said, particularly on matters of ECD, we issue policy on matters where the county thinks that they can be able to come in and support an educational institution such as a primary or a secondary school. We cannot say no, but as you know, it is normally the members of parliament who are able to support us as far as infrastructure is concerned. So we really cooperate and assist each other.
Maybe in,
Thank you.
in 10 seconds you comment on Turkana schools.
Yeah, as I said, the Turkana schools, actually, we have been able to repute 5 schools. We gave 100 million to Turkana. The member of parliament is aware. I personally went to Turkana, and Honorable Speaker, I think some of those schools have been reopened.
Senator Menen, you just confirm with the office, and also Senator Azena, you confirm with the CS at his office. So, Honorable CS, thank you very much for your time, for getting time to come to the Senate to answer the questions raised. And therefore, I want to release you so that we can conclude our business. Thank you so much indeed. There are questions which were directed to National Treasury, Lands, and Ministry of Interior. So those questions will be rescheduled, maybe from next week. Therefore, yes, I had mentioned that Bonnie Kalwale and requested, and in that it's already in the answer. So, Honorable Senators, having concluded the business for which you extended sitting pursuant to Standing Order 33-2A, the Senate stands adjourned until today, Wednesday, 20th March 2024 at 2:30 p.m.